Pay for well-qualified customers plus taxes, fees, and $35 per line connection charge. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. Contact us plus $5 per line without autopay. Debit or bank account required. 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Welcome. Plan benefits vary. See details at T-Mobile.com. Motorola Edge requires 68-watt charger. Charger sold separately. Actual performance will vary based on usage and configuration.
March basketball is unpredictable. Your elevators shouldn't be. Metro Elevator keeps your building moving. Our highly trained technicians deliver fast, responsive service for peak performance. Visit metro-elevator.com/Raleigh to keep your elevators in championship form.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Getting hurt in a car wreck comes with all kinds of stress and frustration. But when you call me, I'll be on top of all of it. So all you need to worry about is getting better. If you've been injured in a car wreck, I'm on top of it. Contact us at ritchielaw.com.
WCMC-FM HD1 Holly Springs.
This was a typical game Florida played in the NCAA tournament. It was not reflective of how they played in the SEC tournament, but in the NCAA tournament, they got behind in the first half and had to find a way, different ways, to come back and win games. This time, they got back in the game by getting stops the last 4 minutes, by going inside when they couldn't make a three, and a lot of that had to do with JoJo Togler, him getting in foul trouble, and they had the ability to get to the rim. An incredible competitive game, not the most well-played game, but the most competitive game I've seen in a really long time.
It's the Adam Gold Show. Hi, everybody. I am Adam Gold. That game was sort of as we expected.
I know it. I'm Victoria. That random voice.
I'm sorry.
No, it's
That's
fine.
Victoria.
No, it's fine. I realized after I said something, they'd be like,
No, it's fine. You had Florida in the over, right?
No, I took Houston in the under.
What did I do yesterday? Let me see what I wrote down.
Oh, but we would get back to our bets, too. Trust me.
I don't remember.
One of my bets I made, and you immediately was like, yeah, I'm going to take the opposite.
I did.
I know.
I thought I had the well, who knows? I don't even remember. I did bet it last night.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, and I had Houston in the under. And then Houston turned it over on their last 4 possessions and 5 times in the final 3.5 minutes.
Yep.
Just to guarantee that I wouldn't win. Thank you. Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sure Duke feels like their time was wasted too.
Yeah.
You know, if you're going to beat us, at least you go and win the whole damn thing.
Why not?
But look, it was very indicative of the way this Final Four was played, is that there just seemed like Auburn, had a great chance to beat Florida and didn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
Duke had a great chance to beat Houston and didn't do it.
Yep.
And Houston had a great chance to beat Florida and didn't do it. Before we get into anything, I'm going to tell the world, because you can watch this on YouTube. So for those of you watching in, I don't know, Singapore.
Yeah.
On YouTube, youtube.com/Adam Gold Show or 99.9 The Fan. I think the worst, I don't even know if it's a stat. I don't even know how to phrase it. Win probability. I think win probability is the dumbest thing that we have in sports coverage. Because I saw when Houston had the 12-point lead, it was like 15 minutes left in the game.
Yeah, ton of time.
Win probability, they flashed up on the screen on ESPN this morning, was 93.9%. First of all, bull.
Yeah.
Flat out bull. It's only 12. It ain't 28.
Yeah.
12 points. Florida was down 9 points to Texas Tech in the Elite Eight and tied the game in like 40 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that was unusual, but Florida had like 15 minutes and was the best team in the country for a good chunk of the last half of the year. So these win probability numbers are garbage, hot garbage, especially since we've watched.
Oh, big time.
I mean, just 12 points just isn't that much. It really isn't. Anyway.
At least the chalkiness of the tournament still produced some interesting teams, matchups.
Yeah, within games, right? All right, we have a lot to do here. We're going to check in at Augusta again because why not? I mean, it is the Masters' first major of the golf season. Basketball's over. There is some activity in the transfer portal. So we whatever we can do with that, we will. But Campbell's going to announce their new basketball coach. He's a Florida assistant. They basically announced the hire a couple of weeks ago, but they will unveil him tomorrow. We still don't know what Duke players are going to do. I got a very interesting question from my mother-in-law. I've told everybody my mother-in-law is a big Duke fan.
Mm-hmm. How's she doing after
not
that
good.
loss?
She's still not good.
Yeah.
No, not.
Rough.
I checked in on her on Sunday and yesterday. Still not good. She rewatched the game.
Oh, bad idea.
She rewatched the game.
Oh.
She wanted to see if she was mad at the proper people.
Yeah.
And she was right. She was mad at the proper people.
Mm-hmm.
So she had it in her mind that, I've heard Cooper Flagg's going to come back. And I said, no, he's not.
Mm-mm.
He really isn't. And then I got a text. It was not from her, but it was from my son, who said, one of my friends read that Con Knipple was coming back. I'm like, well, I mean, stranger things have happened, but I don't think he's coming back. He's going to be a top 10 draft pick, so no reason for him to come back. And I saw where the betting favorites already for next year.
Okay.
Houston and Duke. So here's my question. How?
Yeah.
Houston's going to lose 4 of the 8 players that played in the championship game last night.
Mm-hmm.
And we have no idea what Duke's roster is going to look like.
None.
We know they're bringing in good players. We know the Boozer twins are coming in. There's some other good recruits. We assume that some players will come back who have eligibility from this past season. Maybe Isaiah Evans comes back. Maybe Caleb Foster. Unlikely both. Darren Harris, yeah, probably not. Maybe, I don't know. Tyrese Proctor, he's probably going to be an NBA pick, but is it worth it to go to the NBA to be a second-round pick? Because he is likely to be a second-rounder. In fact, in the most recent mock draft on ESPN, Evans, Proctor, and Sion James all go within 6 spots of each other in the middle of the second round. And is that worth it? I mean, Sion James has nowhere else to go. His eligibility is up. I just don't know how you make Houston and Duke the betting favorites when we don't have any idea what their roster is going to look like. None.
Total crapshoot.
So, I don't know. Maybe that's a win probability number also.
Maybe.
All right, let's play. So Florida beat the Cougars last night 65-63. Here is their head coach, Todd Golden.
A heck of an accomplishment. I'm super proud of everybody in my program, top to bottom. My staff, who's been together for 3 years, has worked incredibly hard to help get our players to this point. And our players, they've been the difference all the way along. Been incredibly consistent all year, have worked with a great work ethic, and obviously we have an incredibly talented group, one of the most talented groups individually in America, but I do think what separates us and what has separated us all season long is our team talent and the way our guys have played together and for each other all year. And because of that, we can call each other national champions for the rest of our lives.
That seemed like a form letter to me.
Yeah.
Play that again. Play that again. It seemed like a form letter.
A heck of an accomplishment. I'm super proud of everybody in my program, top to bottom. My staff, who's been together for 3 years, has worked incredibly hard to help get our players to this point. And our players, they've been the difference all the way along.
Our players have been the difference.
Consistent all year.
Yeah.
Good.
Have worked with a great work ethic, and obviously we have an incredibly talented group, one of the most talented groups individually in America, but I do think what separates us and what has separated us all season long is our team talent and the way our guys have played together and for each other all year. And because of that, we can call each other national champions for the rest of our lives.
I hope 3 years from now, Florida wins another national championship, and Todd Golden just trots out that essentially it's a Mad Lib.
Yeah.
Didn't mention not a single player by name.
Mm-hmm.
Our players.
Yeah.
My staff, my program, our players.
Mm-hmm. Fill in the blank.
Awesome.
Hopefully it'll be less creepy.
The players really were the difference. No way.
Really?
No way. I'm stunned.
They scored buckets. Nice.
Man, that was fantastic. Gators are down 12 early in the second half, at which time ESPN's win probability had Houston already cutting nets down.
Oh, no. Yeah.
Dumb. Look, the game was tight over the last, say, 10 minutes or so, right? It just was. Houston was probably never going to blow Florida out. And Florida had the ability to score quickly in kind of bunches, which is really how they ended up closing that gap. But with 3:24 to go, Houston had the ball and a 3-point lead and proceeded to become a turnover mess. Mm-hmm. They were already turning the ball over more in the second half than they did in the first half. But they turned it over. They had the ball after a defensive rebound of a missed shot. And at 3:24, L.J. Cryer, Houston's best player, sort of late in the shot clock, not so late where he didn't have options to pass, but sort of late in the shot clock, forced the issue, but he had nowhere to go as he drove to the basket. The Florida's big men were there. They were going to block the shot, whatever. And so he just tried to dribble through it and ended up losing the ball. So that turnover, where you get nothing, not even a missed shot, for a chance at an offensive rebound, because Houston was great at that again. Not as good as they were against Duke, but pretty, very good. So with 3:24 left, Cryer turns the ball over. And then these are Houston's last 4 possessions. Turnover, 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 turnover. And the last one was they got the ball after a 1 of 2 made free throw situation by Florida. So it's 65-63. There's about 20 seconds left. And you think, all right, Houston, maybe you go fast. You're good on the offensive glass. You don't wait too long. They didn't get a shot off.
Nope.
Like, what are we doing?
Nothing.
Like, first of all, Florida defended well. And that's not to be... but if you have been so good at offensively rebounding the ball, then you don't even have to plan to make your first one. So you don't even have to get that good a look. Just with 6 seconds left, somebody's got to be pulling the trigger.
Shoot the ball.
But they waited, and then Emmanuel Sharp left his feet, had nowhere to go, and he dropped the ball. Mm-hmm. He can't come down with it, so he dropped it, and nobody came to him.
No.
Like, you're just kind of staring, like, what's going on here?
Right.
Like, somebody come for the ball.
Get this thing.
Nope. It was, that was the turnover, so they didn't get a shot. I thought that was a poor play. They probably should have called the play that ended in a shot.
Yeah. And then their head coach's face said everything.
It was just the worst. But it was a tight game, and Houston didn't handle the last 5 minutes of the game very well at all. Sort of reminded me of the game Saturday night where Duke didn't handle the last 5 minutes of their game very well. Here's Houston head coach Kelvin Sampson on the last play.
We have a set where it's a stagger gate, and we thought if we could get Emmanuel to shot fake and get downhill. I have to look back at the film, and I don't know if the ball slipped out of his hands or. Clayton had his back. Yeah, he probably should have shot faked that. Both those guys, Richard and Martin, both really good defensively. Clayton made a great play on that, but that's why you got to shot fake and get in the paint. 2's fine.
Yeah, 2 would have been fine. You didn't need a 3. The problem with Sharp was that he left his feet. He jumped in the air and then had nowhere to go. Probably at that point should have just heaved it at the rim. But, that's not what happened. Here's Walter Clayton Jr. I think what Florida should be amazed at, not amazed, but proud of, really, is the fact that their guy, Clayton, who had been a superstar scoring the ball, had just 11 points in the game. That's it, just 11. But their best player didn't have to go for big numbers because they have a great team. There's no doubt about that. Here's Clayton on the final defense.
I seen a lot going on. Coach had said we felt like they was gonna try to get some for either Cryer or Roberts, and Sharp kind of creeped down to the baseline. I seen a back screen, so I'm yelling back screen at Doe, and then Sharp ended up slipping it. They tried to set like a little elevator screen, so just went out there. We work on it in practice, kind of closing out, jumping to the side so you don't foul the shooter. So he kind of pump fake, threw the ball down, ended up being a good play. Doe got on it. We won the game, man, and the feeling just surreal. So it's a crazy feeling, man. I honestly can't even explain it, but it feels good though.
Yeah. I bet it did. Look, they are worthy champions. They were great. They won the SEC, and they were number one at one point. So good for the Gators, man. They are a great team. I wish the game was a little bit better, but it was super competitive. The officiating wasn't awesome, but I know they called nothing in the first half. Then they called everything in the second half. Ideally, you'd like it flipped the other way. You'd like them to try to control the game early, set the parameters of what's going to be allowed, and then maybe give them a few liberties in the second half as the game becomes more contentious. To me, this is the opposite of doing that, but whatever. I also don't believe that it ultimately decided the game, and both teams could feel, I think, justifiably screwed and fortunate at the same time. Again, I don't think it had an impact at all in the outcome. Here's Kelvin Sampson after the game.
I told our guys after the game to be disappointed you lost, but do not be disappointed in your effort. Defending Florida is difficult. They got a really, really good team. Coach Golden runs great schemes over there. We guarded them. We held that team to 65 points. Thought if we held Duke to under 70, we'd have a good chance to win. And I felt like if we held Florida under 70, we'd have a chance to win. Saturday, we found a way to win. Tonight, maybe not so much. Two great teams, two tough teams. We lost by 2 points. They made one more play than we did tonight.
I think that's an honest assessment of what we saw. All right. So yesterday we talked to Amanda Kristovich from Front Office Sports, who's in San Antonio for the Final Four. And today we're going to talk to an attorney at the bottom of the hour, Tarun Sharma, who has started the NIL Sports Law Clinic at the University of Minnesota. Does a lot of work with Conduct Detrimentl. Great sports law podcast. Anyway, the hearing to ultimately approve the House settlement in the NCAA was yesterday. Now, it was never Judge Claudia Wilkin, who they're based in San Francisco. She told the attorneys and the plaintiffs and everybody yesterday, like, she wasn't going to rule yesterday. They were not going to have enough time to get through everything and rule yesterday. But essentially, they're pushing it a week out. They had a hearing all day yesterday. They're pushing it out basically a week, giving the both parties a chance to kind of tweak some of the portions of the settlement. So she said she wasn't going to approve it, but she also said that she liked the settlement. It was a good settlement, but she had some concerns over two things in the settlement. One was roster sizes, and she wants the roster sizes, which would come down. Right now, football is unlimited. You get 85 scholarships, but heck, you could have 85 walk-ons if you wanted. So she wants the roster size issue to be grandfathered in. So a kind of a gradual step down in roster size to where ultimately the settlement would arrive. And the other thing she wanted changed was future athletes, and she specifically said this, I feel uncomfortable holding future athletes to a system that they didn't have the opportunity to object to. Currently, athletes can opt out of this settlement. She didn't feel like it was appropriate to have people who are not involved, so if you have a daughter or a son who's an 8th grader and they go on to play, college sports, she said she feels uncomfortable having somebody who has no part in the system now be beholden to a system that is a 10-year deal, which begins whenever they decide, whenever the settlement is agreed upon. So the NCAA went back to their little room with the Power 5 conferences. I don't know if they're discussing using the Pac-12 as a Power 5 or lumping the Big East in with the remaining Power 4. And they went, nah, we're not really rewriting anything. And the judge may still approve the deal because the judge said, I think it's a good deal. And there are elements of it that bother her, but overall, and she said ahead of time that she was basically not going to let good be the enemy of perfect, which is, I think, probably, and just in life in general, a pretty good spot to approach things from. But there are some interesting opinions out there, and I want to read our friend Mitt Winter from he's a sports law attorney. He's been on this show a couple of times. And this, I'm just reading from his Twitter. He said, in the end, the 75-year-old retiring judge indicated that she would indeed approve the settlement if changes are made specifically to two concepts, and I talked about them. Phase-in period for implementing new roster limits and adjusting the language related to binding future athletes to this settlement. She wants to approve the settlement. Change the roster limit situation. This is from the judge. Change the roster limit situation or risk not having me approve the settlement. And the NCAA and the Power 5 leagues went, yeah, no. I just don't understand. Because if you delve into a lot of this, the judge is saying without saying that, there is a better way, and it's called collective bargaining, which would eliminate so many of these problems, but the schools would have to admit out loud that all of these players are actually employees. Even though that's what they all are. Even the ones that are playing non-revenue sports. Your schedule's planned out for you. You have obligations of time that go beyond your classwork. And oh, by the way, most of the non-revenue athletes have to be students because that's the only truthful thing about the NCAA is that commercial is that, what a 90-some-odd% of our student athletes are going to go pro in something other than sports. Yeah. Not a lot of professional field hockey being played in the United States. So I just don't for the life of me, understand the NCAA. We're going to talk about it. Tarun Sharma is going to join us on the other side. Masters Tuesday always brings to us the pairings. We haven't seen them yet. At least I haven't seen them yet. They're supposed to be released this afternoon. And we also have a Hurricanes game in Buffalo tonight. So Buffalo, they stink. So did Boston. Detroit doesn't stink, but Detroit not going to make the playoffs. Yeah, this ain't going to be easy. I haven't looked at the betting lines tonight, but Buffalo on the surface, probably not a bad value emotional hedge. But Buffalo has also won 4 in a row and 7 of their last 8. They've beaten Washington, Winnipeg, Tampa, and Ottawa twice in those 7 wins.
Yep. Right now, Buffalo's plus 180.
Yeah, that's not even
terrible.
No, not at all. So, for those Hurricanes fans who think this should be a gifted win, pay attention. None of the best teams are winning at a regular rate right now. None of them. The teams that are winning regularly are Ottawa, Buffalo, St. Louis, who has been playing playoff hockey now for 2 months. Like, the top teams aren't winning. Florida is in danger of finishing 4th in the Atlantic. No joke. Tampa's not winning either. Although they did beat the Rangers last night.
Yeah.
You hate to see it. Yeah. By the way, Rangers got booed off the ice at Madison Square Garden.
Well, they have great fans.
We're going to talk to Sean Hill later, former Hurricane, and I'm going to ask him about how hard it is to make the playoffs 7 straight years, because everybody feels like it's so easy, and it ain't easy. And because the Rangers now have missed twice in the last 6 years.
So sad.
This year, they're going to miss. They haven't been officially eliminated yet, but they are going to miss. And they missed, was it the year after? I think it was the year after the bubble. I think the year we played in crazy divisions. So they weren't part of the, whatever that division was called, the East. They weren't part of that. The Hurricanes were in the Central. We had the West, and we had Canada, whatever that was called. So, yeah, the Rangers didn't make the playoffs that year. Now, I know, weird year, whatever. But it ain't easy to make the playoffs. So we take things for granted here. And this is not me blaming Hurricanes fans. It's just a reminder that this isn't easy. It will not be easy tonight. Just like it isn't going to be easy for the NCAA and the power leagues to accept that they're still not in the right place. Tarun Sharma is an NIL expert. He is an attorney, and we are going to talk to him next.
Making more sports sense than social media trolls. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Tonight's forecast calls for Hurricanes hockey.
Svechnikov, tick-tack tied in Carolina on the man advantage.
Storm Watch with Adam Gold at 6:30. Puck drop at 7.
Save it, rebound! Game over! Sebastian Aho gives Carolina a 4-3 win in overtime.
On your exclusive home for the Carolina Hurricanes, 99.9 The Fan.
Are your monthly bills keeping you up at night, wondering how you got so behind? Hey, I'm Roger Moore, CEO of Loan Pronto. I get it. Life is expensive now. Insurance, groceries, cars. And then there's the credit card debt with those obscene interest rates. It's time to regain your financial freedom. And that's what we offer at Loan Pronto, using the power of the equity in your home. We have multiple ways to get you the cash you need, and most clients close in 2 weeks or less, and many don't even require an appraisal. And listen, rates have been plummeting recently. We just locked a homeowner in with an APR in the low 5s, saving her over $1,000 per month, and put $10,000 in her pocket. Life-changing money. Whether you're drowning in debt, have a nosebleed rate you got last year, need home improvements, or simply need cash in your pocket, we can help you accomplish this goal in record time. Call us today and get started with no hard credit pull, just a conversation. LoanPronto.com, 919-381-1760. LoanPronto.com. That's LoanPronto.com.
Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, NMLSConsumerAccess.org.
Right now at the Home Depot, shop Spring Black Friday savings up to 35% off select appliances plus free delivery from top brands like Samsung. Get tech you can trust to simplify your daily routines. From all-in-one washer dryers to smart refrigerators with Family Hub. Upgrade your kitchen and laundry with trusted technology from Samsung, ranked #1 in customer satisfaction. Get Spring Black Friday appliance savings and free delivery now at the Home Depot. Visit jdpower.com/awards for more details. Free delivery on appliance purchases of $396 or more. Offer valid April 3rd through April 23rd. U.S. only. See store online for details.
Are you suffering from chronic joint pain or just struggling with daily activities because of discomfort in your knees, back, or other parts of your body? Well, I've got great news. It's called DaVita Med Spa and Wellness, a solution that can help you get back to feeling like yourself again without the risks of invasive surgery or long-term prescription drug use. DaVita Med Spa and Wellness is a regenerative medicine clinic. Their innovative treatment options address the root cause of your pain to promote healing and prevent re-injury for long-lasting pain relief. If you have arthritis, joint pain, sports injuries, or other conditions, their highly trained medical providers will develop a cutting-edge treatment plan tailored just for you with little to no downtime. DaVita Med Spa and Wellness can get you back to doing the things you love. Call DaVita Med Spa and Wellness today, spelled DVIDA. Call 984-333-1313. 984-333-1313. 984-333-1313.
Will you make the right call? Time's running out, pressure's on, and you need your roof replaced. Hi, I'm Holly from RoofWorks. It's 4th and goal, and the decision's in your hands. The competition can't stop you. You're about to score the game winner. We've trained for years for this moment to raise the roof for you. So avoid the noise and put us in the game. Call RoofWorks today or visit us online at roofworks.com. That's roof, WERKS.com.
Dennis Cox here for my friends over at Law Tigers. It's that time of year, folks. Back on the open road, taking a cruise on the motorcycle, but there's always that risk when you're on the bike. That's why you got to contact Law Tigers at 1-800-LAW-TIGERS if you're injured in a motorcycle accident, even before you contact your insurance company. Insurance companies pay the least amount possible. Law Tigers, they're riders too. They know what your bike and your gear are worth and what you're going through after an accident. 1-800-LAW-TIGERS. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
One Adam Gold. One Adam Gold.
Some of the best trades ever made are the ones you don't make. Again, I'm sure that there are tons of stories like that.
Kind of like a relationship. Sometimes the best ones are the ones that you didn't go out with, like that person that you tried to, and then you see them 10 years later and you're like, oh, dodged a bullet.
So you sound like you've been there.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I'm Adam Gold. Victoria is here, basking in the aftermath, I guess, of the college basketball season coming to an end. Florida wins the national championship, but still many more games to be played in courts of law from sea to shining sea, as Claudia Wilken is basically, we're going into overtime with the House versus the NCAA settlement, as the judge in San Francisco has told both parties to just give me a tweak here or there, and then I will approve this settlement. And I believe the NCAA said, no, we're going to run the same play over and over again. And I think they're going to test whether or not the judge is still going to approve this settlement. I don't know the ins and outs of it. Tarun Sharma, TK Sharma Law on Twitter, University of Minnesota Sports and NIL Clinic. Also a Mets fan. Hey, we've won 5 in a row, and we are 7-3. I think things are good, even though I'm not sold on our pitching staff. Maybe we'll get to the Mets in a minute. But let me ask you, what was your takeaway from yesterday's hearing?
Yeah, well, thanks for having me on, Adam.
Look, he's got a Mets hat on. I
wore it just for you today.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I what a marathon yesterday. 6.5 hours, yeah. and hearing a lot of comments from parties that are heavily invested in what's going to come next with college sports. I think that was probably my biggest takeaway, is that there are a lot of people that care deeply about this. This settlement probably isn't going to be perfect, but Judge Wilken, she asked us not to quote her on this, but said that overall she thinks it's a good settlement and that it's worth kind of working towards reaching a final settlement here.
Yeah, but she did specifically tell the attorneys involved that she wants changes to 2 areas. And if I'm not mistaken, the NCAA, along with the Power 5, and I don't know if that lumps the Big East in or we're still pretending, I guess the Pac-12 is reforming in something. I don't think it's a power league. But they basically said, nope, we're good. I think what we have here is fine. Now, I think she'll probably approve it, but why do they want to run this risk?
Yeah, you consider how much time they've spent on coming to the settlement agreement, basically, that they have reached at this point. I just think that they've invested so much in getting people on board, and so you think about making these changes. Well, that's going to affect how another party feels about signing up for this, and really, what they need is investment from everyone that's going to be affected by this to agree and to operate under this. And look, it's a 10-year agreement. I'm not even sure that we'll get to the end of that 10 years before we reach some sort of more finality. So I think that when you talk about, so is the back pay formula correct? Like, that was something that we heard about from Libby Dunn, who's been a real, she's been the face of NIL in a lot of ways. When we hear about roster limits, well, that's something that a lot of people have been interested in pushing for some time. When we hear about being cut, well, that was kind of a surprise. We heard the NCAA's attorney say yesterday that, coaches can cut as is right now, which is something that used to always be denied by the powers that be. So I think that in order to get these changes, you need to have people buy in, and maybe it is kind of late in the game to be doing these types of negotiations. But at the same time, if they get the sense that maybe she wouldn't sign off on it or would delay the sign off on it, and there's only a certain limit to when she can do that until, given the actions that all of these schools and athletic departments have taken to this point, maybe they do make last-minute deals to just get it done.
Tarun Sharma, who founded the Sports NIL clinic at the University of Minnesota. You can also hear him in the NIL Hour, Conduct Detrimentl, the podcast. I keep getting back to this one thing. And there's already another lawsuit filed yesterday. Chris Jenkins, former Villanova basketball player, and Carolina fans will remember it was him who hit the shot in 2016 that beat the Tar Heels. He's suing because for, I guess, back lost NIL money that he would have received. I don't know how you figure this out. Maybe you can. But we're going to see so many lawsuits. But isn't the big one that's coming going to be based on artificially capping what the athletes can earn because it won't be collectively bargained?
Yeah, I think it's a great point, and one that I've been thinking about since we first heard the terms of the settlement. But look, it's a 10-year settlement, and this was something that I think Judge Wilkin was interested in hearing about. Someone brought up the 10-year-old who's currently out there playing kickball.
Right.
That person is going to be bound by this settlement because 10 years, it would cover, a significant portion of their college eligibility. So I do think that matters. And when I mentioned something that would give us more finality, I was sort of referencing, look, if we get employment and the NCAA can no longer deny that these student athletes are employees of the teams and the universities where they work, then maybe you do get a union and collective bargaining. And that, I think, is where we need to get to, in the sense that that is what's going to allow college sports to look more like the college sports that I think we fell in love with, more continuity that we don't currently have with the year-to-year free agency.
Isn't agreeing to share revenue already admitting that the athletes are employees?
Well, so if you asked the universities and the athletic departments, I think that they might say that these are licensing agreements, that they're going to be paying money for the use of name, image, and likeness, but not necessarily a revenue sharing agreement, which I agree would kind of push towards that line.
Well, if these were just licensing agreements, like I guess if to put it in a like the video game context, didn't all players in the video game, essentially, if you were an NCAA football player, you were going to get a check for whatever, like $800 to be in the video game? Are they going to give like every player the same number?
No.
I don't get it.
Yeah.
I mean, I am not a lawyer, but sometimes common sense is better than the legalese. Tarun Sharma at TK Sharma Law is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. Do you have something else to say about that?
Yeah, well, I think that the argument that they would make back, though, is that, look, if you're, buying people to endorse a product for you, not everyone is going to be worth the same amount.
Right.
Some student athletes are going to be more valuable to the university and that what they do.
No question, and the free market should allow for that. So what happens when you've got 5 players on your team that are each worth, $2.5 million to the university?
I think you're going to end up tying a lot of that money up in those players. I don't think you're going to be able to afford some of the other sports, which is one of the concerns I think that a lot of student athletes, particularly in the Olympic sports, have.
Tarun Sharma is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. The NCAA is trying to limit the way that NIL is used now. The courts have already said, and the NCAA has basically decided, at least until right now, has kind of backed off and said, we can't enforce this, so NIL is NIL, and it's pay for play in many, many places, and is what it is. It frankly isn't any different than it used to be when everything was kind of under the table and not above board. But they're going to try and enforce this and make it all true NIL and police the real value of somebody's NIL deal. Is that tenable?
Yeah, now they've invested a significant amount in the infrastructure for it. This settlement agreement also calls for Deloitte to kind of vet every NIL deal over $600. And I think that was one thing that some of the attorneys were kind of arguing against yesterday because they don't want to see any collective clients that they have kind of fall by the wayside here. And I think that it would be it's going to be difficult, I think, for Deloitte to say, hey, this agreement that you're giving to the top quarterback on the market is not fair market value. Well, what is fair market value? Our algorithm says this, our model says this, but there are other suitors that are willing to pay this amount of money or even more. And we're just lucky that we were able to convince them to sign with us. I think that is asking for a lawsuit as well. So I think that there are still significant issues with this. I think we will get the settlement agreement,
right,
but it's by no means a done deal and college sports is going to stop evolving. The horse is out of the barn here. So it's going to just continue to be insanity. But I think that this probably gives us a baseline and something to build from.
Tarun Sharma at TK Sharma Law on Twitter. He is the founder of the Sports NIL Clinic at the University of Minnesota School of Law. You can hear him on the NIL Hour, Conduct Detrimentl, the podcast. All right. Do you feel good about a 7-3 start?
I'm a big believer in this, the pitching lab. And okay. I think a lot of people were skeptical about the Mets rotation, and especially in the aftermath of Sean Manaea going down and Montas not being able to start the season. But I think that they've done a really good job at identifying a few guys in Buto and Kranick that they can get multiple innings out of. And I heard them say last night on the broadcast, Gary was relaying a conversation that he had with David Stearns, saying that, look, it's particularly important early in the season when starters aren't going to be able to give you as much to have these guys where maybe they are converted starters, like the two guys that I mentioned, and they can give you 2 or 3 innings. So I'm a believer in the way that they've constructed the pitching staff to this point, and also that I think that they just do a great job of using data to identify most valuable pitches and develop sequencing in a way that maybe other teams don't.
This is the true money ball, right? This is the true money ball. Not that crap with Scott Hatteberg playing first base. Tarun Sharma, fellow Mets fan. We wore a Mets hat for me. I appreciate that. I just had Benny Agbayani flashbacks back in the day. I don't know why. So
yeah, probably the black.
The hat, yeah. That looks like an old school hat. I thank you very much. We're going to check in again. You say they will. You think the judge will approve the settlement? I agree, but you say that she will. Will she do it in a week?
I think it depends on how quickly she gets the responses back to these questions. I don't think that they're going to be able to just say like, "Hey, we're sticking with what we have." They will have to respond specifically to the items that she brought up.
Okay. All right. We're going to check back in.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. Hopefully we'll have 10 wins in a row at that point. Tarun Sharma, TK Sharma Law on Twitter. Thank you very much for the time, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, one-timers coming up. By the way, I'm not buying anything that the NCAA and their attorneys are saying. Nothing. We'll do this next.
Questioning goalie interference calls since day one. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
It's okay not to be okay. Feelings of loneliness, anger, and worry are completely normal, and you're not alone. If you need help coping, call, text, or chat the free 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. Someone is always there to talk, day or night. Together, we will find the care that works for you. Just call, text, or chat 988 anytime to talk to a trained counselor who will listen, provide support, and connect you to other resources that can help. Let's get through it together. Brought to you by the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services.
From the mountains to the coast, there is tremendous pride in North Carolina agriculture. NC Forever Farms is a program recognizing family farms that are protecting precious working lands vital to the future of agriculture. Through permanent agricultural conservation easements, these NC Forever Farms will always be protected from development. Learn more about preserving family farms through the Farmland Preservation Division of the North Carolina Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services by visiting NCADFP.org.
This April, join North Carolina Realtors in celebrating Fair Housing Month. Fair housing means everyone deserves a place to call home, regardless of race, color, national origin, religion, sex, or disability. NC Realtors are committed to fair housing for all North Carolinians and ensuring that everyone has access to safe and affordable housing. Let's work together to create communities where everyone can thrive. Visit ncrealtors.org to learn more about fair housing. Paid for by NC Realtors.
The North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services is looking for people age 21 or older to volunteer in long-term care facilities. Community Advisory Committee volunteers help residents and their families advocate for the needs of individuals living in long-term care facilities, such as nursing homes, assisted living facilities, and family care homes. Volunteers must complete orientation and training to become designated and certified representatives of the Long-Term Care Ombudsman Program. Visit ncdhhs.gov/aging to find your county's ombudsman.
Do you know someone who's lost a loved one to overdose? Every day, the disease of addiction is taking lives and devastating families. But this crisis is preventable. Join the Governor's Institute in the Be a Superhero in the Overdose Battle campaign. Together, we can spread awareness, fight stigma, and save lives. Learn the signs of overdose. Know how to help. Visit governorsinstitute.org/superhero today, because doing nothing shouldn't be an option. Be a hero. Take action. Save a life.
The Body Armor State Games are coming to Greensboro this June. Registration is open to athletes of all ages and skill levels in 20 different sports. The Body Armor State Games feature 11,000 athletes and 600 teams. Don't miss out on North Carolina's largest sports festival of the year. Visit bodyarmorstategames.org today. That's bodyarmorstategames.org. The Body Armor State Games are proud to partner with Truist, Lowe's Foods, and Blue Cross and Blue Shield of North Carolina.
Did you know that since you have public power, your electricity is operated and controlled by people in your community, not by a for-profit investor-owned company? These local folks are directly accountable to you. They don't answer to shareholders. They make decisions for the good of your community. What's more, your public power provider invests in your community, providing jobs and supporting your local economy. Local people working together to meet local needs. That's public power. Learn more at electricities.com.
Are you living your best life? Do you know AARP North Carolina is working to make communities great for all ages? Help workers find easier ways to save, improve healthcare quality and access, and to protect important programs like Social Security and Medicare. Learn more about all that AARP is doing to help people of all ages by listening to AARP Without Limits. You can find the latest episodes of AARP Without Limits wherever you listen to your podcasts.
One Adam Gold. One Adam Gold.
Was the hug because of the soft, fuzzy thing you're wearing?
It's a comment. I'm a great hugger. People like to hug me. So, but yes, it's helpful when I'm soft and fuzzy.
Is that a skill?
It may be, yes.
I think it is a skill.
I think it is a skill.
Yeah.
You know who else gives really great hugs? Mike Meniscalco.
Really?
He is one of my favorite huggers. Yes. Every time I see him, he gives the best hugs.
I'm going to try that at the next home game.
Do it.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Victoria on the ones and twos. I've got a little Hurricanes news I'll give you at the top of the hour. It's nothing earth-shattering. It's not like it's breaking news. We got lineup news from tonight. Kind of an update on Jesperi Kotkaniemi and his injury as well. We'll do that on the other side. But right now, one-timers.
Okay, so just a reminder, if anyone ever has a one-timer, they can put it in the YouTube stream. I check that, or you can tweet at me, V to the Victoria with some underscores
Why
in
do
there.
you mock your own Twitter handle?
No, it's just easy. It's quicker to say it. I could just go V_2_the_Victoria, but it's just quicker to be like V to the Victoria with some underscores in there.
Yeah. Randomly scattered about.
Yeah, little Easter eggs everywhere for Easter. But we have some on YouTube. So starting with Justin, he wants to know, the NCAA tournament demands having a lot of big men. NC State has a lot of point guards coming. Is there something to that, or are they going to have any low post presence?
I mean, I have to. So, I think they've got 7 scholarships still to give. So I wouldn't be, at this point, I wouldn't be concerned about anybody's roster. I made fun of the fact that Vegas has made Houston and Duke the betting favorites next year. We have no clue who is going to be on their team. Now, I think it is a safe bet that Duke and Houston will both be good. But to make them the favorites now, I just don't even know how you do that.
Yeah, that's
I
crazy.
just don't know.
I know.
By the way, Ian Jackson entered the transfer portal.
Oh, well, look at that.
So Jackson, Washington, Elliot Cadeau. We already know that Cadeau's going to Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
So that's basically 3 starters, if you will.
Yeah.
For UNC.
Well,
maybe not all starters because Jackson came off the bench a lot, and so did Washington, but definite 3 rotation players.
Yeah. Well, this is a follow-up. Also, a baseball question. Braves.
Yes.
Sorry, Braves fans. They are 1-8, so do you still think they will be all right?
No. I think there's a reason they're 1-8. I do think they'll be better when they're healthy.
Yeah.
And I think they're a good team, so I'm not in any way concerned that the Braves won't be good. I just don't know how good they're ultimately going to be. It's just tough to make up a lot of ground. But I mean, at 1-8, they could probably go through a 1-8 stretch during the season and not be too bad. But it really does start eating at your margin for error. The fact that the Phillies and the Mets are significantly in front of them right now. Padres are really good. Dodgers are obviously. Dodgers might win 115 games this year. I don't even know how you beat them on a consistent basis, because they are loaded and they have 2 in every position. So I don't know. I think the Braves will be better, but I don't know that the Braves their path to get in might be slim.
Yeah, still a lot of games left, but we'll see. From our friend Chef Wolf, what is your confidence level on Will Wade?
High. Seriously, year 1 could be tough simply because he's got to put this roster together in a very short order. It's not going to be easy. Now, I know what he said at the press conference. He expects to be in the competing at the upper part of the ACC and be in the NCAA tournament. Okay. So I think it's doable in this league. I don't know how good you'll be if it's, if the league doesn't get significantly better. But my confidence level in him long term is very high.
Okay. And last but not least, this is basically kind of a consensus of what's going on in the stream concerning our boy, Kochetkov. So is he going to be in net tonight? And if he is, will this be the game that he turns things around?
Well, okay, I was going to save this for the other side, but it will be Pyotr Kochetkov, who has allowed 19 goals in his last 4 starts. That's not good. It just isn't good. Now, the Hurricanes won one of those, so that's good because they scored 6 against the Islanders. That was an AHL goalie war. All right, we'll run it back next.
Talking sports so you don't have to pretend to know stuff. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Doesn't the North Carolina Education Lottery Winners Club give the best massages?
I've never felt so relaxed.
Thanks to this month's scratch-offs, this is our life now.
It's like winning again and again and again.
This month's scratch-offs pack over $150 million in total prizes. The Winners Club awaits. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning range from 1 to 3.8 to 9.88. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
A torn ACL, stress fracture, aching back, a hip that's had it, life on hold, and all you want is to get it back. Enter Wake Orthopedics. Our fellowship-trained orthopedists do it all. General, sports, pediatric, joint replacement, fractures, spine, prevention, advanced diagnostics, progressive treatments, minimally invasive procedures, surgeries, and more. Visit wakemed.org/wakeortho and get back your life.
Hey girl, haven't seen you downtown lately.
Nope, sticking to our go-to places.
You mean like Sharky's?
Well, we love our Sharkies. Best wings and gumbo on the planet. But we never miss the $5 sangrias on Wednesdays at the new Salt and Lime and Mexican pints on Thursdays for $3.
You know my boy loves the House of Hops. No better selection of craft beer in the state. Loves their specials, their food trucks, and you know I love my wine. They have a wonderful selection.
And have I told you about our new takeout spot, Che Empanadas? It's right next to Sharky's. They have 20 different types of authentic Argentinian empanadas, and they are incredible, especially the breakfast ones. You gotta try it.
Sounds perfect. And how awesome is it that they're so close to each other?
Yes.
Give them a try. Che Empanadas, House of Hops, Salt and Lime, and Sharky's. Just a hop, skip, and a jump from each other off Durham Road, Glenwood, and Grove Barton.
Cool cars, cool people, good times. America's favorite car show is back. The Good Guys 10th Griot's Garage North Carolina Nationals presented by Detrimentl. April 18th and 19th at the North Carolina State Fairgrounds in Raleigh. Cruise on out and see over 1,500 of the Southeast's finest hot rods, muscle cars, and trick trucks. Autocross racing, a Saturday night demolition derby, vendor midway, live entertainment, and more. April 18th and 19th at the North Carolina State Fairgrounds. Details at good-guys.com.
Child abuse. It happens in all communities. Learning to spot the signs of abuse and knowing how to report it can save a child's life. Children's Advocacy Centers of North Carolina supports over 50 centers statewide, providing hope and healing to young victims of abuse, neglect, and trauma. Join us in the fight against child abuse. Visit cacnc.org to learn more. That's cacnc.org.
When you're high, you feel different. Pretty obvious, right? You think different, talk different, but if you feel different, you drive different. So if you're high, just don't drive. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Thanks for calling Discover. This is Nia.
Hi, Nia. It's Jennifer. Did you know that Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Yeah, I work here.
Okay. I was just double checking. Get it?
Because Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Oh, you get me, Nia.
You could say that I double get you.
I guess we've taken it too far.
You earn, we match. Discover Cashback Match. See terms at discover.com/credit card.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Workers' comp can be tricky, but my law firm will be on top of all the complicated paperwork and sneaky deadlines so that all of your I's are dotted and T's are crossed. If you've been hurt on the job, I'm on top of it. Contact us at ritchielaw.com.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
Muzan on the right-hand wing, stops with 7 seconds, gives it to Cryer, 6 seconds to go, 5 seconds to Sharp, top of the key, lost the dribble, he's got to pick it up, it's scooped up by Condon, Condon secures it, and Florida found a way! From 12 down to the school's third national championship in men's basketball, 65-63 the final, the Florida Gators are the national champions once again!
It's the Adam Gold Show. I'm Adam Gold. That is Victoria. Hurricanes game tonight. Big one. Bob Harig will join us later this hour from Augusta National. We expect to get tee times pretty soon. They will send, you'll play with the same, 3 players on Thursday and Friday, and then they will cut to, I believe it's just the top 50 in ties. Used to be a 10-shot rule. Anybody within 10 shots of the lead would also make the weekend, but that they got rid of that rule when they just expanded it to 50. In general, about 60 players will make the cut, and then they will go out in twos on Saturday and Sunday. Looks to be very good weather for the tournament proper. I know it rained a lot. It had more than an inch of rain yesterday at Augusta, so it softened the golf course, but they have a sub-air system which sucks the moisture from the course. So my guess is that by the time they tee off Thursday morning, and it should be pretty cool Thursday morning, probably in the low 50s, maybe even high 40s, because they're only going to be a high of about in a mid to upper 60s, I think, on Thursday.
Yeah. We went through the first fake summer.
We did here.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, here we did.
Maybe they did too. Now they're back in the spring.
So for people who don't know, and this will be the great way to fold this back into the Hurricanes, because we are going to talk about the Hurricanes here. For people who don't know, when the Hurricanes are on the road, primarily I do all of my work from my home. Occasionally I'll be here in the studio here, but for the most part I do everything from home. And that's where I, in general, do the podcast, and I do it from my screened-in porch. We had that run of weather where it was in the teens. I did those from the kitchen table.
Right.
Because my wife bought me a patio heater, one of those kerosene patio heaters.
Right.
And they're awesome.
Sure.
But at 15 degrees,
you have to stand over it.
They go, nah.
It's not working.
Not helping.
Mm-mm.
So, I would have to stand up and get right next to the heating coils for it to work.
Which is not wise with a computer.
It's not where that's where it is. So, but tonight, it's going to be in the mid to low 30s.
Oh, boy. Yep.
I think by the time I start, it's probably still going to be in the 40s. And that's okay. The patio heater works beautifully
Yeah.
At that temperature.
Does Earl come out too every time or no? Oh, he's got a limit. There's a threshold.
Well, he's a Weimaraner. Weimaraners don't have a full coat.
This is very true.
So he gets cold.
Mhm.
He likes blankets.
Oh, okay.
Oh, he covers himself up.
See, Biff is the opposite. He's a walking blanket.
No.
So.
No, Earl's like, where's my blanket? I want two.
Yeah.
And fluff my bed.
Mhm.
Yeah, we get all of that. But yeah, he doesn't know. He's not interested at that temperature. Nope. Staying in. Thank you. All right, your Hurricanes updates as we take two. All right, let's start with injury updates. Jesperi Kotkaniemi. A week. He's going to miss a week. But Rod Brindamore said today after the morning skate that ultimately it's not a serious injury. They expect Kotkaniemi to be back. Jordan Staal, Andrei Svechnikov made the trip to Buffalo and will play tonight. They will play on a line with Jordan Martinook. So both Andre and Jordan, who have missed the last couple of games, they are back in. William Carrier, not quite ready. He did practice in full yesterday, not on the trip. Did practice in full yesterday before they left, and is close to a return. So, with Kotkaniemi out, these are Carolina's four centers. Sebastian Aho, Jack Roslovic, who is centering the second line with Taylor Hall and Logan Stankoven right now. Jordan Staal with Martinook and Svechnikov. And Jankowski with Eric Robinson and Tyson Jost. So, if you look at Carolina's centers right now, in front of whom does Kotkaniemi play? In place of whom does he play? Now, Roslovic can certainly move to a wing, but when Carrier comes back, how many other guys are you taking out of the lineup? See what I'm saying? Carrier and Kotkaniemi, you could sit Tyson Jost. Who is the other guy that's coming out of this lineup? Is it Jankowski? Is it Robinson? Is it Stankoven? Like, there are major questions to answer about who plays and where with this team. Okay. In my ear, I have Rod audio if you need it.
Pulling the curtain back.
Let's hear from the head coach.
Got to try to stay focused, and we've got a lot of guys out of the lineup. That's not ideal either, but it's I don't know what the lineup's going to be tomorrow. So you can ask me. I don't know who's available yet. So it's tough when there's all that going on. But we put ourselves in a good spot that inevitably it's not going to matter, right? We're going to get to the next phase. So it's just trying to stay focused and get healthy.
All right, we're going to talk to Sean Hill in our next hour about the hard thing about doing that, because I just think that there are too many people who just figure, oh, what, it's another game, so the Hurricanes are going to be exactly like they always are. And man, we should be smarter than this by now. It's just not the same. So you're going to have to figure out a way to get dialed back in, because everything is not done. They clinched a playoff spot, but everything is not done. They still have to go and wrap up home ice advantage in the first round. You don't want to play games 1 and 2 in New Jersey. We know that's the matchup, but you don't want to go to Prudential Center. And I watched the Devils play on Saturday, and I know they don't have Jack Hughes, and they didn't have Dougie Hamilton. And I'm here to tell you, it don't matter. That team is good, flat good. They could beat Carolina without Jack Hughes and Dougie Hamilton. So Carolina's going to have to be playing well, but you'd rather have 4 games in that series on your ice than theirs. Especially Carolina's not been nearly as good on the road this year. For whatever reason, we can all have theories as to why. I do think matchups matter, but the Hurricanes would rather have these games at home than on the road. So they still have some work to do to get that done. One more thing from Rod, and this is from yesterday. The 2 games that they lost in Detroit and Boston, here's Rod on those.
We haven't played actually poorly on the road. Like, I look at those last 2 games, I didn't mind them at all. You know, we be honest, a couple bad goals on both those games, and the game might be a little different, but I didn't mind how we played. So we definitely got to be sharper than we have been on the road as a whole. But I haven't really can say, our game's so much worse on the road. I don't find that.
All right. I agree and I disagree with that. I think Carolina has been not too good in their own end defensively. I agree with the goaltending. And while I said in the game at Detroit that Pyotr Kochetkov played that there weren't any bad goals per se in that game. Now, Freddie allowed 2. Really, but 2 awful goals. The first and the third goals can't go. But I think that Kochetkov, were he a more confident goaltender, probably stops 2, if not 3, of the 4 he allowed. Then there was an empty net goal at the end. But he allowed 4 goals. I think he stops 2, maybe 3, if he is just a more confident goaltender. Everything is slow for him right now. Everything has slowed down I'm talking the game. We want the game to slow down. The game is way faster than him right now. And the Hurricanes need to get him back to being, the Pyotr. He doesn't have to be the .950 save percentage that he was for about 5 or so starts. He doesn't have to be that. But he can't be the .800 save percentage that we have seen over the last 4. All right, back to a couple of things. Because we have Stahl and Svechnikov coming back into the lineup. And this is my opinion of these 2 players. I'm glad to have Jordan Stahl back. Super glad. He's the captain. We all know these things. He is a lead by example guy, and I think you need that example in your lineup on top of the fact that he's just great at what he does. For him, I don't think it's necessary that he plays more than a game or 2, knock the rust off, and maybe you win a couple of these games and clinch the things you need to clinch. But I don't need to see him play the last 6 games. I need to see him play a couple, 3, and then if you want to give Jordan Stahl, the last 2 games of the season off, I am all about not having Jordan Stahl play in Montreal and Ottawa to end the season. Andrei Svechnikov, on the other hand, we need to see Andrei play well. How many times have I said this year they really need to get Andrei going? And I've said that to the head coach way too many times. So Stahl just needs to come back, knock the rust off, win some faceoffs, play 12 to 13 minutes a game, get into the rhythm of playing again, and then boom, we move on to the playoffs. Andrei's got to get work done. Andrei has to find his game the way it's supposed to be played, and that is speed, physicality, the skill will come. And I know this is going to sound weird. In most cases, I'll live with the penalties that he takes. In most cases, not in all. When Andrei is committing a penalty out of aggression or trying, that's fine. But when he's just committing stupid penalties, those are the ones we got to get rid of. But as long as he's trying to do something, I think you can live with them. But man, does he have to get back to being a physical player again, because he really hasn't been. And he is the only one of him that they've got in terms of guys who are top 6 forwards. But he has to earn that spot because there are too many guys who are playing like top 6 forwards in Carolina's lineup. I know Rod would love to have Andrei play with Aho and Jarvis. He would love it if he could put Andrei on the left side, Aho and Jarvis, let Andrei cause havoc, and let Jarvis and Aho reap the benefits of that, because Andre would reap the benefits of that. But Andre, at this point, hasn't earned that spot, and it's not just going to be gifted to him. I think there is more of a chance that we see Robinson there, or, heck, Carrier there, than we see Svechnikov there right now. Now, Rod may do it just to see if he could get something out of Andre, but boy. So Andre's going to play with the captain and Martinook tonight to kind of make it very north-southable for Svechnikov, because he needs to see that. He needs to see the direct nature of their games. And it's a huge start for Kochetkov tonight. I just can't underestimate how big a deal it is for him to shake off these last 4 starts, which have not been good at all. The head coach wants to have him as an option in the postseason, and right now, you'd just be like hoping that, it's playoffs, he'll be fine. Which, to be fair, might happen. Like, I'm not even ignoring the fact that that's possible.
Yeah, I'd rather him shake it off now, before the playoffs.
Give me a sign that you're
There's life.
You're all
yes,
right.
Yeah,
you're all right. The peaks and valleys, I get it. This was the valley, pretty deep valley, by the way. But yeah, I think the head coach needs to have some confidence that it could go to him, because here's what we know for a fact: Freddie can't start every game in the postseason. You will not survive 2 rounds if Freddie Anderson has to play every game. You won't. They know it. All right, with all of that said, let's break. When we come back, Bob Harig from Augusta, is this the Rory Masters only? It's got to be something else. Next.
Chapel Hill to Charlotte, Greenville to Greensboro. Your sports, his state. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Listen every afternoon for The Drive with Tim Donnelly.
NC State basketball got their guy, Will Wade. He was number 1A on their wish list. He's coming off a win with McNeese State in the NCAA tournament, and all of that is nice, the sizzle, the buzz, it's great. But so much of it is still going to come down to the same thing. Does he have the NIL money to get the players on campus?
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 3 to 6 on 99.9 The Fan.
Hey, it's Adam Gold from my friend Gordon Miller. Miller Lending, Kildare Farm Road and Cary, the man who invented the no closing cost mortgage back in 1987. Have I ever told you that I'm an 11-time customer? Yes, an 11-time customer. And I'm just like you. I don't have thousands of dollars in closing cost money to just throw in the trash, light on fire. Because here's the truth about closing cost money. Unless you're keeping your mortgage for 8 years, that is disposable to you now. Because if you want to refinance over that 8-year period, and the rates are going to come down. Heck, they came down about a half a point about a month or so ago, and they'll they're going to drop again. So if you want to refinance, don't ever pay closing cost. That's not your best deal. Your best deal is to never pay closing cost. Miller Lending on Kildare Farm Road in Cary. They are an equal housing lender, NMLS ID 2502146. Don't ever pay closing cost, ever.
Oh, wow, honey, I love it. It's so beautiful and so sparkly.
Just like you, Mom. Happy Mother's Day.
I'll wear it every day. It goes with everything.
This Mother's Day, wow Mom with spirit-lifting, outfit-making, express your love jewelry. Shop jtv.com/mom for wow-worthy and budget-friendly styles.
I'm never taking it off.
Another wow factor? Sign up for JTV Text and get $30 off. If she loves jewelry, she'll love JTV.
Joint pain in your knees, shoulders, or lower back. It can stop you in your tracks. At DaVita Med Spa and Wellness, we offer a revolutionary course of treatment that can eliminate your joint pain and have you back to your old self in no time. Our regenerative therapies actually help repair damaged tissue to eliminate the pain without risky invasive surgery. If you suffer with joint pain and have been told your only options are medications, steroid injections, or surgery, DaVita Med Spa and Wellness offers non-surgical solutions using your body's own cells with minimal downtime and long-lasting results. Experience personalized, compassionate independent medical care at its best. Call our office now and see how you can get real, long-lasting relief from joint pain through regenerative medicine and the medical experts at DaVita Med Spa and Wellness, spelled DVIDA. Call 984-333-1313. That's 984-333-1313. 984-333-1313.
Looking for the perfect kitchen, bath, or flooring? At Home Outlet, we don't just promise the guaranteed lowest price, we back it up.
Yeah, but how low are we talking?
We'll beat any competitor's price by 10%.
That's wow. But okay, what makes your store better?
Funny you should ask. We're 100% employee owned. Everyone here has a stake in making your home projects affordable and stress-free.
So I'm getting expert advice, unbeatable prices, and I'm supporting employees who actually care?
Exactly. Why shop anywhere else? Home Outlet, kitchens, baths, floors, and more at the guaranteed lowest price. Visit us at homeoutlet.com today.
Dennis Cox here for my friends over at Law Tigers. It's that time of year, folks. Back on the open road, taking a cruise on the motorcycle, but there's always that risk when you're on the bike. That's why you got to contact Law Tigers at 1-800-LAW-TIGERS if you're injured in a motorcycle accident, even before you contact your insurance company. Insurance companies pay you the least amount possible. Law Tigers, they're riders too. They know what your bike and your gear are worth and what you're going through after an accident. 1-800-LAW-TIGERS. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
This is Adam Gold.
We had lightning hit a pretty large tree.
Oh, yeah.
About 150 yards from the house. It'll be my sign to go win the lottery. But you know what? I'm sorry, I can't. I have rules. If it's not over $1 billion, I'm not playing.
Yeah, still just millions.
The Adam Gold Show.
Bob Harig of Sports Illustrated is in Augusta. Amid the pines, apparently the flowers, the azaleas, everything's blooming, unlike some past years. I know they're pretty excited about it, although I know they lost a bunch of trees. But it is Tuesday. It is heavy media day. And so let's start with, this is apparently the Rory McIlroy Masters. Is this the biggest storyline this week?
If it isn't, it's pretty close, I'd say. You know, he's won twice this year. Nobody else has done that on the PGA Tour. Joaquin Neiman won twice on LIV, but I don't think he's getting the same run that Rory is. I mean, it's because it's Rory. I mean, it's the only of the four majors he's not won. This is 11th straight year he's had a chance to complete the career Grand Slam. He's playing well. He's probably playing the best of anybody in the world right now. And really has for 6 months. After the U.S. Open disappointment last year, he actually bounced back and was a contender often. Won in a European event, won their season title, won at Pebble in the Players. It's just a lot of things that add up to us focusing on him, and then the top, Scheffler number one, and Xander, who was number two to start the year, now 3, haven't won this year and have battled injuries. So, I think it is, Roy's probably the biggest story with several others that are pretty big too.
Yeah, Scotty Scheffler has a ravioli injury, correct?
Yeah, right. Right.
Just...
Yeah, I mean, what a fluke, right? What a fluke.
Hey, look, we had a Carolina Hurricane cut his hand open while trying to cut a sweet potato. Kitchen maladies are everywhere. Bob Harig from Sports Illustrated is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. At Rory's press conference today, so many questions are about why haven't you? What have you changed? How do you feel? How does he handle that? Or how has he handled it? And do you think in any way this adds to the mounting pressure? It's clear that everybody wants Rory to win.
I mean, I don't know if it hurts him. I mean, he's been through this so many times. He knows it's part of it. I think the phraseology he uses, it's narrative. That's
right.
It's I have to block out the noise, and I think a 20-minute or so media session on Tuesday, doing a few TV things on the range, then it's over with. And these guys are in a pretty much a cocoon here. I don't sense that he's going to get a whole lot of other, media attention, and I think he's doing what he has to do. But the facts are that he's not really contended much here over the years, frankly. This is, believe it or not, his 17th Masters, and he has 7 top 10s and 4, I believe, top 5s. So 4 out of 16 top 5s, and his second place finish came in 2022 when he shot a final round 64 to finish like 3 back.
Right.
He wasn't really in contention. He's not gone to the back 9 since in 2011 when he was a 3rd round leader.
Yep.
I think by 3, he went to the back 9 still leading and imploded. He shot 80 that day and finished 15th. He's not gone to the back 9 since, really, with a realistic chance to win. And that's kind of remarkable. Like in other words, Rory isn't teeing off on 15 and anybody's saying if he eagles this hole, he might win.
Right.
Because he's been too far back. So, Rory's got to get himself in the mix one of these times. A colleague and I were discussing this earlier. The Masters is a weird place in that there's very few times that the winner comes from outside the top 10 after day 1. Tiger did it in 2019. I think he was like 17th or 15th or something after the first day. But that's rare. It's usually, if you are not in the top 10 after 18 holes, your chances of winning are greatly, greatly diminished. So, Rory I don't think Rory's always been outside the top 10, but he's certainly not really been in the mix much through 36 holes. And, we haven't seen the tee times yet, but I think it would really help Rory a lot if he were to get an morning wave so that on Friday morning he's not worrying about chasing, he's worrying about pace setting. Right. And putting a number up there.
Yeah, and the conditions we'll get into the weather conditions and how that might affect scoring in a couple of minutes. I remember that 2011 because my son had a Nintendo Wii, and Rory hit it to a place off the 10th tee that didn't exist on the video game. It wasn't even there. We couldn't even find that little one of those cabins that Rory was hitting from for his second shot on the 10th hole. And that was the back 9 implosion. Kind of not unlike what Greg Norman did a few years, not a few, but a lot, maybe a decade or so prior when Norman fell apart losing to Nick Faldo. What is the other top storyline? Scotty, who has been good but not Scotty-ish so far this year, going for a Scotty Pete?
Yeah, I think so. I think he's certainly, the number 1 player in the world, the defending champion. Won 7 times last year. He's certainly another big storyline. I think that if he's not in a mix, that becomes a big story. I don't think it's a big story if he doesn't win.
Right.
It's not that common that people defend. But I think if he's sort of out of it, that becomes a big deal. Xander's the last guy to win a major.
Yeah.
He's really underplayed because he missed so much time, and maybe that's good for him because maybe there's a little bit of pressure off. Because I think that I think there's a sense of we're not. If he doesn't have it this week, it's not that surprising. He's only played 3 tournaments since he came back, and he was. 2 of them were not good. He shot 81 at the Players just 3 weeks ago in the final round, and so he had a good tournament the next week at the Valspar. But, there's not a whole lot of positive reinforcement in his brain right now. And this isn't the easiest place to find it. It's not typical that you show up here and searching and get it done. I mean, the Jack Nicklaus almost 40 years ago is those are outliers. Usually the guys who win, they might not have been winning, but they were trending or in form.
Bob Harig from Sports Illustrated is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. Masters starts Thursday. Tee time's out later on today. To me, this is a classic second shot golf course. We all know this. You can't spray it off the tee, but you don't have to necessarily have pinpoint accuracy. Fairways give you a little bit of room. Of course, you need the better angle to different pin positions and things like that. Traditionally, you don't necessarily have to be a great putter. Otherwise, Brad Faxon might have won some Masters. But Scotty Scheffler's a good putter. And in weeks where he putts well, probably wins. So you don't have to be a great putter, but you need to be a great iron player. Is there a better iron player than Colin Morikawa?
Probably not. I mean, if it is, it's Scotty. But Morikawa is really, really good at that. And he's a ball striker. He hits it solid. And if anything has held him back, it's probably his putting. You got to do it all. But you're right. It's not all about putting. It's not a putting contest. It's really kind of a greens and regulation contest. And then after that, it's a proximity contest. I mean, if you hit all 72 greens, but you have 50 footers all day, you're not gonna win.
Right.
But if you typically hit, say, 54 out of 72, like 56 in that range, where you're in the top 50 even, you're the top 50, top 3 or 4 in greens and regulation, and then you're hitting just enough of them close to give yourself a few birdie chances. Those are the guys who do well. And then, of course, you've got to be a good chipper because you're going to miss some greens, and can you get it up and down? Can you avoid making a lot of bogeys? Because when you miss, guys are going to make bogeys. The guys who are only getting it up and down, say, half the time, are probably going to be out of it. So, I always look at the greens and reg stat here. It's not the be all end all, but it's not. You don't see a guy winning this tournament who's 20th in greens and regulation. A guy who's hitting 8 greens and scrambling his tail off isn't winning because he's not going to. Inevitably he's not going to be able to scramble well enough.
All right, 2 more things. First of all, who would be the best candidate this week from Live? By the way, you got about almost 500,000 viewers for their final round at Trump Doral. So that's their best ever U.S. Broadcast number. Good for them. Is it DeChambeau or is it somebody else?
Well, listen, I kind of like Rahm too.
Okay.
Rahm's been teetering on the brink of. I think he leads Live in birdie average, and he's been consistently good, even though he hasn't won. And he just won here 2 years ago. Last year, I think it was an aberration for him. And I'd be very surprised if he's not highly motivated to do well. I think Koepka is sort of quietly trying to trend here for this week. He did not have a good major season last year. No. Unusual for him. But yeah, certainly Bryson. Bryson had a bit of a breakthrough at Augusta last year. This place had flummoxed him before.
Yep.
And he was the first round leader last year, and then he actually he tied for 6th, and it was the start of a great major year. He's second at the PGA, won the U.S. Open. If he would have done anything at the British Open, we would have been talking about it being like an all-time great season. And yet he won only one time, which is crazy. He won the only win anywhere was the U.S. Open. But if you're going to only win one, it's a pretty big one. So, but I'd be sort of surprised if we don't see if he doesn't make some noise too. So yeah, I'm sure we're going to see something from the Live guys for sure.
Yeah, I think Joaquin Niemann is also a pretty good choice. All right, and by the way, DeChambeau last year, I think it was the Saturday round, 3rd round, where he was in great shape and then made a complete mess of the 15th hole with the chip from the right side that I guess was short. He just completely made a mess of that hole. You normally think he'd be taking advantage of all the par fives. Final thing, because I alluded to the weather, it's going to be high 60s, low 70s. Does that equate to not lower scores but higher scores? So something in the neighborhood of 10 under par, give or take, a winning score here, or is it going to be deeper?
Yeah, I think if unless there's wind, I think it'll be deeper than that. Last year was 11, and Saturday was brutal last year.
Right.
Saturday was really, really difficult. Or excuse me, Friday. Friday was very, very difficult. I always it'll always stand out in my mind because the 72 that Tiger shot in the second round last year, which nobody will ever just looking at it, nobody will think anything of it. He shot 73, 72 to make the cut actually fairly easily, but it was an incredible round of golf in the conditions. It probably his best round he's played post accident.
Right.
And then, the next day, I think his back went out, and that's when he shot in the 80s. And so everybody remembers that. But that 72 was incredible. That day was really hard. A lot of good players missed the cut, like Justin Thomas.
Yeah.
Guys just really fell off. And so I don't know if we're going to get a day like that. That's why I expect the scoring to be a little bit better. And also, we just, we got a lot of rain yesterday. It's sunny today, and they have that sub-air system. Are they able to get it dry and firm, certainly by the weekend? If we don't get any more rain and we get just even a little bit of wind, then you have a chance for it to get firm. The golf course is always way more interesting when it's firm, because the ball rolls more. It's harder to control, and it just brings in a lot of variables. So that's sort of what you hope for, and that usually brings out the best players. That's why a guy like Scheffler won, because he's so good with the irons, and why Morikawa was up there last year.
No doubt about it. For people who are fancying maybe some action, look at guys who I guess hit mid-irons close. That to me, anywhere, 7, 6, 7, anything from 175 to 200 yards. The guys who are best in that stat are probably pretty good picks to do well this week. Bob Harig, Sports Illustrated, at Bob Harig on Twitter. Thank you very much for the time. I appreciate it. Enjoy the week. We'll talk to you down the road.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you having me.
Sir.
It's very official.
That's very, yeah. All right, we have tee times now.
Yeah.
When we recorded that with Bob earlier, the tee times were not out. Tee times usually come out around this time of day. I can tell you that Rory did get what Bob wanted. Afternoon tee time. He's in the fourth group from the end in the afternoon. He goes out at 1:12 with Ludwig Åberg, for a lot of people, the other guy that everybody's rooting for, and a local Raleigh guy. I think a product of Leesville Road, Akshay Bhatia.
Okay.
Yeah, who's had a very good year. I think Akshay had a very good start to the Players' Championship, did he not? I think so. I fancy his chances. If you are looking for stats to help you, like if you're in a Masters pool or something, you look for guys who are good at hitting greens or proximity to hole in the 175 range. So anywhere from 150 to 200 yards, right? 175, give or take. If you stay just with that group, you'll get a lot more guys right than wrong. It's not a driver's course. You can't drive it poorly. It's not a driver's course. It is a second shot golf course. And you go, well, most golf courses are. Yes, to an extent, yes. All golf courses are. You have to hit balls on greens. But you can drive it a little crooked and be okay at Augusta. But you have to be able to hit greens. The golf course will play a little bit longer, but it's long anyway. It's over 7,500 yards.
Wow.
So yeah, it's a long track. A couple of other groups. Colin Morikawa, Joaquin Niemann, Minwoo Lee. Lee just won a couple of weeks ago. I think in Houston. They will go off in the morning at 9:47. Phil Mickelson, Jason Day, and Keegan Bradley will play together at 9:58. Then the defending champion, Scotty Scheffler, with Justin Thomas and I think the U.S. amateur champ, Jose Luis Ballester. Let's see, Jordan Spieth, past champion, with Tom Kim and Tyrrell Hatton at 10:26. Then we get into the later groups, and they get some heavyweights going back out again late. Patrick Cantlay, Rasmus Højgaard, Matt Fitzpatrick. He won the U.S. Open a couple of years ago in Boston. Brooks Koepka, Russell Henley, and Sung J. M go off a couple of groups before Rory. The group right in front of Rory is Adam Scott. Xander Schauffele has won the last two majors, and Victor Hovland. So there are a lot of good groups late. Bryson DeChambeau is in the group right after Rory McIlroy. So I know somebody who's already taken Friday off.
Oh, do you?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Nice.
No, not you. Are you taking off to watch the Masters? I know you're off Thursday and Friday, right?
I know. It is very like me to do that, so yes.
No. Are you doing that?
No, I
You're a
have
huge
to go to
golf
a
fan.
wedding. I know.
You're a huge golf fan.
I'm a huge golf
Who
fan.
do you like?
Pick a name. Just
Tiger? You like Tiger?
Sure, why not? Yeah, we'll
Tiger's
go with
not
Tiger.
Tiger's. I mean, he might be at dinner tonight. I have no idea. My guess is he won't be.
Well, we know what's at dinner.
Everything.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, my son saw the menu for he goes, that sounds like a lot.
It is.
And he is a 16-year-old who would eat anything not nailed down.
Right?
Yeah. It is a big, big menu. He says some of those people are going to die.
Hopefully they don't get to that point. It's not an eating contest.
Kobayashi is not there.
No.
Gosh, that's gross. All right, so yeah, the tee times are out, and Rory will go at 1:12 with Ludwig Oberg and Akshay Bhatia. I am running the risk of making this a one-man, like a one-topic Masters. It's not. And I will tell you this right now. I will not have a ticket on Rory McIlroy.
Well, there you go.
I will not.
You're not going to try to buy a victory.
No, I would. That would be. That
would be the
not
opposite.
Right, exactly. I'm not going to do it. I've been there before.
You have.
It's just it hurts.
Yeah.
It hurt.
Especially, was it last year that he got really close about that?
All right, we're going to stretch and place bets next.
From the heels
Touchdown, Carolina!
to the canes.
She scores!
He covers it all. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hey, it's Adam Gold from my friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. And here's what we know at FanDuel. We know that baseball fans dig the long ball. And with Dinger Tuesdays, all FanDuel customers can get a home run profit boost. That means when you bet on moonshots, you can take your winnings to new heights. See what we did there? So whether it's a big blast or an Oppo Taco, gosh, I love that. FanDuel's your home for betting on home runs. FanDuel.com/AGS. FanDuel.com/AGS. Gear up to go yard all season long. Make every moment more with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. Opt-in required. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and maximum wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
From the mountains to the coast, there is tremendous pride in North Carolina agriculture. NC Forever Farms is a program recognizing family farms that are protecting precious working lands vital to the future of agriculture. Through permanent agricultural conservation easements, these NC Forever Farms will always be protected from development. Learn more about preserving family farms through the Farmland Preservation Division of the North Carolina Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services by visiting ncadfp.org.
This April, join North Carolina Realtors in celebrating Fair Housing Month. Fair housing means everyone deserves a place to call home, regardless of race, color, national origin, religion, sex, or disability. NC Realtors are committed to fair housing for all North Carolinians and ensuring that everyone has access to safe and affordable housing. Let's work together to create communities where everyone can thrive. Visit ncrealtors.org to learn more about fair housing. Paid for by NC Realtors.
The North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services is looking for people aged 21 or older to volunteer in long-term care facilities. Community Advisory Committee volunteers help residents and their families advocate for the needs of individuals living in long-term care facilities, such as nursing homes, assisted living facilities, and family care homes. Volunteers must complete orientation and training to become designated and certified representatives of the Long-Term Care Ombudsman Program. Visit ncdhhs.gov/aging to find your county's ombudsman.
Every day, people battling addiction suffer in silence. Because of stigma, they fear judgment. They fear being labeled, and too often, they don't get the help they need. But you can help change that. Join the Governor's Institute and be a superhero in the overdose battle campaign. Learn how to break the stigma, support those in need, and save lives. Visit governorsinstitute.org/superhero to get involved. Be a hero, fight stigma, save a life.
The Body Armor State Games are coming to Greensboro this June. Registration is open to athletes of all ages and skill levels in 20 different sports. The Body Armor State Games feature 11,000 athletes and 600 teams. Don't miss out on North Carolina's largest sports festival of the year. Visit bodyarmorstategames.org today. That's bodyarmorstategames.org. The Body Armor State Games are proud to partner with Truist, Lowe's Foods, and Blue Cross and Blue Shield of North Carolina.
Did you know that since you have public power, your electricity is operated and controlled by people in your community, not by a for-profit investor-owned company? These local folks are directly accountable to you. They don't answer to shareholders. They make decisions for the good of your community. What's more, your public power provider invests in your community, providing jobs and supporting your local economy. Local people working together to meet local needs. That's public power. Learn more at electricities.com.
Gold. Gold.
If Andrei Svechnikov watched Eric Cole highlight tapes and caused chaos.
Hey, hashtag, you didn't even mean to do that, did you?
I didn't. Well, that's the old one.
I know, but
right?
It's still relevant.
Now we're raising up. Maybe we should go back to cause
I know, we
chaos.
need to go back to causing chaos.
This is interesting. I did kind of subconsciously bring that out.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Victoria on the ones and twos. All right, so is there a reason for the knack today?
I just pick them out.
All right. I like it.
Yeah, it just felt like playing
I
this
absolutely like this. I had this on a 45
Oh, okay.
back in the day.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't remember the B-side. I'm not sure. There might have been My Sharona on the B-side, too. I don't know. Does the knack have another song?
Ooh, I would.
That would be a trivia question.
Yeah.
Can anybody name another knack song?
Yeah. Is it a one-hit wonder or not? Yeah.
I mean, we have great one-hit wonders in the world.
Oh, for sure.
But that is definitely it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I would love to hear another knack song.
Right? I mean, it's a great one. Who doesn't go, woo, at that part? Like, when it's time. Like, everybody does. It's either them or Ric Flair. Like, all of us.
Maybe he's the impetus for it. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right. This is a great way to come back from the break and a great way to start into stretching.
Well, this might be great for people who want to hike the Chinese mountains.
What?
So where I'm going with this is...
Okay. The Chinese mountains?
Yes. In China, like a lot of places, they have huge mountains that people like to climb, hikers like to go to, see the views, all this stuff.
Right.
But maybe they don't because hiking's a lot of work. It wears you out. Now what they're going to do...
People die hiking.
They do die,
You're
yes.
talking about like legit mountain climbing, or
Right.
you're just talking about like walking the foothills.
Right. No, legit Mount Everest. People die doing
Right.
that all the time.
Nepal.
Yes. So what China's now going to be doing is making escalators. outdoor escalators that go up the side of their mountains. So people with mobility issues, maybe the older generation, or just lazy people can all now see the views.
First of all, I think it's very kind. Right? That's great.
Right. Thank you.
And I'm sure expensive to do. I'm not sure people are aware of this, but like to traverse Everest, to climb Everest, it's several miles in the air.
It is.
So that's a long escalator.
Very.
Right? Chances are it will break down, by the way. But this is going to sound weird. I think that escalators defeat the purpose of climbing the mountain.
Well, you bring up a point that now people are talking about. So there's two sides, obviously, to this. Some people who say, oh, this is a great idea. Now I can just stand there and, like, it moves me up the mountain instead of me doing it.
It'll take forever.
Exactly. Right? What if are there bathrooms? Like, do you get off? Like where can you go and, like, take pictures on the side of the mountain? Like, yeah. Supposedly, they will have pit stops.
It can't be one escalator.
No, there's
It has
gotta
to be a series of escalators.
Yes. Do they have, like, exit ramps, too?
Yeah.
I need to see pictures of this.
Stop this escalator. I want to get off.
I'm done. I need to speak to the manager. No, so this actually could be a very expensive thing. They say they have no idea the actual expense when it's all said and done, but obviously mountains are huge. That means a lot of escalation. So,
yeah.
So they don't know, but they also do bring up the point that it could break down, and then who are you going to call? It's not Ghostbusters, because they're not going to be able to help you with this one. But there are definitely two sides. People who say, oh, this is great, and then the other, like the point you brought up, that, no, it takes the fun out of it. You have to almost die doing it.
I don't know about the fun, but it just violates the spirit of the whole thing.
Right. Yeah, I know. Where are you building the character?
You know, if you've got people with disabilities, there should be. Like, I think only people with disabilities.
I could see that. Yeah.
Right, that's it.
Just let them on there. Let them do their thing.
Yes.
It's totally fine. So, yeah, we'll see how that goes. But, yeah, that might be a stressful situation. However, there are two things now I've been reading about, two different ways that you can solve stress relieving. So, first is you're in the right place, the radio. Yes, radio is still alive, even though these youngins like to think it's, you know, streaming and all that stuff, which you can find us on YouTube stream. But dancing to music, they say, is a great way to stress, like to relieve some stress. But they also say, like, dance with a partner, so maybe do a fitness class or go out, you know, who knows, on the
just
weekends.
Dance.
I know. You can be like me and dance around the house while I'm cleaning to distract me from having to clean. So that's always
helpful. Does that work?
There's usually wine involved. That helps. So, yeah, there's that. But then here's the kicker. Here's the second way to relieve stress. Not my idea, but CNN is saying that it's a good idea. Sleeping with a stuffed animal past the age of 6. So they're experts. I don't know who these experts are, but they are saying grown-ups can actually still benefit from doing the same thing as a child by sleeping with stuffed animals because it's hugging something comfortable. For me, you could have a dog, and that's totally the same thing. Unless, you know, they're also, Biff is huge, so he would take up way too much space. But, yeah, so they say that you could do that maybe instead of taking sleeping pills. I don't know about that, but okay. So you could try and sleep with a stuffed animal if you're having some sleep time troubles.
Okay.
Or you could maybe make some good bets.
Place your bets. Place your bets. Here. I bet you slice into the woods $100.
Gambling is illegal at Bushwood, sir, and I never slide.
Okay, you can owe me. I owe you.
Got to get back on the winning track here. Got my hockey games wrong yesterday. Didn't have the basketball game right. So
I know.
You go first.
Okay. Well, so someone that listens to the show, they really wanted me to bring up yesterday's bet because they laughed. They actually tweeted at me after the game. So this is just from yesterday.
Okay.
I had made this bet. St. Louis Blues are going to be in Winnipeg taking on the Jets. The Jets are trying to keep winning their conference. So I'm going to go with the Jets at home, and I'll take the under 5.5. That's plus 180.
All right, I'm not doing this game, but I would go the opposite way. Both.
Oh, no.
St. Louis is absolutely on fire.
But it worked out. The Jets won for me.
There you go.
That's what they remembered, that you were like, no, go the opposite
I went the other way on like several of them. And I got them all wrong. You must have had a good night.
I don't know. But see, that just jinxed all my picks today because I'm on the ice again. So let's go Red Wings and Canadiens. I'm going to take the at-home Canadiens to win this one. They've been a little feisty too, but I'll go with the under 5.5. That together is plus 235.
Yeah, Detroit, they beat Carolina, but Detroit has not really been clicking on all cylinders.
No.
We're going to start in Major League Baseball. Mets and the Marlins in the afternoon. Francisco Lindor had 3 hits yesterday, but we are now through 10 games. He does not have a home run until today, plus 450 for a Francisco Lindor anytime home run.
I like it. Cubbies whooped up on those Rangers yesterday, so let's go Cubbies. Blackhawks are going to be in Pittsburgh taking on the Penguins. Both of these teams have been a little scrappy trying to get their footing. I mean, the Blackhawks at least have been trying, but I think the Penguins are winning tonight. I'm going to go the over 6.5. That's plus 185.
All right, so if you want an emotional hedge, Buffalo is plus 180 to beat the Hurricanes last night. If you parlayed that with under 6.5, it'd be plus 372. But Mark Jankowski, anytime goal scorer plus 600, seems fun to me.
I like a janky goal.
Yeah.
Last but not least, Kraken are going to be in Utah taking on the Club. Give me the Utah Hockey Club and the under 6.5 plus 155.
Champions League quarterfinals start today at Arsenal, at the Emirates. Real Madrid in town. An Arsenal-Real Madrid draw is plus 260 for that.
Talking sports, dropping truth. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Now in Sanford, the Chatley Marine Boat Show and Sale featuring Yamaha boats. With giant indoor showrooms and an on-site test lake, Chatley's the choice for your next Yamaha boat. Find a huge selection of 19 through 25-foot runabouts and the popular Wake Series boats. With special financing, discounts up to $6,000, and immediate delivery available, now is the time to get your new Yamaha at the best price. Hurry to the Chatley Marine Boat Show and Sale in Sanford. ChatleyBoats.com.
It's a big week in golf. Global Golf has everything you need to get ready for your next round. Browse all the top brands like Callaway, TaylorMade, Mizuno, Ping, and Titleist, plus expert help from our team of PGA Golf professionals for lessons and fittings. Global Golf has you covered with Carolina's largest selection of pre-owned clubs and the easiest way to trade in your current golf clubs. Visit Global Golf today and get ready to play. Located on 7320 ACC Boulevard, North Raleigh. Global Golf, home of the best deals in golf.
Interest rates have plummeted. It's time to call Loan Pronto. Hey, it's Dennis Cox. If you're looking to get cash out of your home equity, refinance out of a high rate, or do a home improvement project, Loan Pronto can make it happen in a matter of days. Take advantage of this opportunity and get tens or even hundreds of thousands out of your home equity. Pay off all your credit cards. Pay off your car loans. The average homeowner cuts their monthly bills by $1,000. Get more info at loanpronto.com. Inflation and higher costs have put a lot of people in a stressful financial situation. But if you own a home, there's a way out. Loan Pronto has multiple options that can help you get the financial freedom you deserve. Most homeowners get their cash in less than 2 weeks, and most don't even need an appraisal. Do the smart thing. Stop paying insane rates on those credit cards. Wipe them all out. Get a lower mortgage rate. Get some money for that home improvement project. It all starts by getting in contact with the experts at this, Loan Pronto. LoanPronto.com or call 919-381-1760. LoanPronto.com. Equal housing lender. NMLS 1661781. Subject to lender approval. NMLS ConsumerAccess.org.
Struggling to get the sleep treatment you need? I'm Megan Giggling, General Manager of Parkway Sleep Health Centers. You shouldn't have to wait for better sleep. Our streamlined process provides for sleep studies, CPAP machines, and supplies, without the long delays you'll find at other sleep centers. At Parkway Sleep, we'll help you get good rest faster and with the care you deserve.
With over 20 years of experience, join countless satisfied customers who have discovered the Parkway Sleep difference. Visit us today at parkwaysleep.com. Parkway Sleep Health Centers. Sound sleep, sound health.
Is going to your local bar the worst part of your day? The bartender ignores you, mediocre food, warm beer? Then why go there? Take 5 minutes and drop in at Sharky's, where they'll give you a free evaluation, and you can learn about all the bars that you shouldn't go to. Sharky's has helped thousands find the right bar to hang at. What are you waiting for? Sharky's evaluation could be the cure to the worst part of your day. Change your bar, change your life. Sharky's, 5800 Durley Road by the Shell Station.
At the V Foundation, V is for victory over cancer. V is for victory over giving up.
Don't give up. Don't ever give up.
Join our team in the fight against cancer at V.org.
Why'd I go to the doctor? One day at the firehouse, I was so lightheaded I could barely stand. Even my crew noticed. Getting checked out was the right call. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit NoTimeToWait.com, sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Big truck accidents can cause life-changing injuries, and life-changing injuries deserve life-changing money. I know big truck wrecks, and I know how to fight those big insurance companies. If you've been hurt by a big truck, contact us at ritchielaw.com. I'm on top of it.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
And that's it. Connecticut is back on top for the 12th time in school history. The first since 2016. The Connecticut Huskies are national champions. The 9-year wait is over for Gino Auriemma. Win number 1,250 in his career brings him national title number 12. Connecticut 82, South Carolina 59. The Huskies are the top dogs here in 2025.
Connecticut women, that was from Sunday, rocked. Yesterday, Florida won their 3rd national championship, right? Billy Donovan in 06 and 07 went back-to-back. And now Florida again for their 3rd, I think the 3rd national championship. The teams that, Florida had 2. Duke had, is it 5? 91, 92, 01, 10, and 15, yes. So they had 5. And Auburn and Houston had none. Man, was Houston close to winning it. By the way, was Houston's season a failure too? Just kidding. It wasn't. They had a great year and were this close to winning the game last night. And you could argue that they should have won the game last night, but they didn't. And Florida gets credit for that, just like Houston gets credit for forcing Duke into a number of mistakes, also discouraging Duke from taking the ball to the basket, because that was a symptom, really, of Duke's problems. On Saturday night, they stopped driving to the basket. They were willing to settle for step-back jump shots and fadeaways as opposed to taking the ball right at the defense. It's not that hard to figure out. But in real time, sometimes it is hard to figure out. So, but man, Houston was awesome yesterday until they weren't. Just like, well, I don't think Duke was awesome. Duke was in control of their game on Saturday night until they weren't. And even though they had a lead, Houston had controlled the game in the, last 10 minutes. It took Houston a long time to get up to and past Duke. But they were in control of the last, really, 10 minutes of that game. And last night, I thought there were some similar feelings to the national championship game in the second half, because even though Houston had the lead, it felt like Florida was dictating to them. Now, Florida, it's a good thing that Houston isn't an offensive machine. I know what the efficiency numbers say. For, the best of Virginia's years, their offensive numbers were, oh man, great offense, so efficient. Yeah, but about 10 fewer possessions per game because they slow you down. And it's not a terrible strategy, by the way. A lack of patience is a staple at many, many of the best basketball schools. It's just not easy. It's not easy to convince the players, just chill out. You don't have to be in a hurry. And I think schools, or the way teams like Houston, and I'll bring Virginia into it because Virginia has notoriously played a slow brand of basketball. That could change under Ryan Odom. I don't know. But when you play slow, it works in your favor and against you, depending on what's going on in the game. If you play slow and you're losing, there are fewer possessions. If you play slow and you are winning, it can shorten the game. There's just fewer possessions makes it harder for the team with better talent to win. The most talent would rather the game have more opportunity than less opportunity. But I also think that you can apply a lot of scoreboard pressure when a team which is used to scoring in the 80s, Duke, is scoring in the 60s. You get to apply a lot more scoreboard pressure. The real drawback is that it's very difficult to watch and enjoy unless it's a win. Like, you can watch your favorite team play, get up and down the floor and score a lot of points and still lose, and you go, wow, that was a great game, though. But there are people, it was a competitive game last night. There was a lot of bad offense and too many turnovers, especially in the second half for Houston, who turned it over 7 times in the second half. But they're not necessarily there to entertain anybody. They are there to do a job, to win a game. Anyway, competitive game last night, probably one that Houston would have liked to have won. All right, let's stretch.
The wall of sound is a
the
function
wall of sound.
of this studio. There's no doubt about it.
We're still stretching.
Excuse me for a second. Yeah, the Canes Corner podcast, available wherever you get your podcast after the Hurricanes game tonight, assuming I stay awake.
Yeah. Hey, at least it's starting at 7 and not like 10:30.
Yeah, Thursday's game in Washington is 7:30. That is a nationally televised game. The game against the Rangers on Saturday afternoon is also a nationally televised game. That'll be on ABC, Hurricanes Rangers. And the next game is back to FanDuel, and the rest of the season will be FanDuel Sportsnet. 5 o'clock against the Maple Leafs on Sunday, and then Montreal and Ottawa Wednesday, Thursday, both 7 o'clock starts.
Is it bad that I'll be that person watching a hockey game at a wedding?
No. No, not at all.
That's going to be me
The
Saturday.
wedding is Saturday?
Yes.
Afternoon wedding?
I have no idea. I'm assuming. I don't know. I have to get there first. It's in Illinois. So.
Oh, okay. Are you walking?
Maybe. Who knows? I don't know the details.
Are you guys
I'm
driving?
Just there. Yeah.
You're driving Illinois? Okay.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
You still don't know what doesn't that dictate what you wear?
I know what I'm wearing, but that's it.
It doesn't, no. Whatever you're wearing is good for either evening or afternoon.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, why not? I can dress for all the occasions. This is why my suitcases are huge.
Okay.
I pack for everything.
Gotcha.
Yes.
All right, that's fair.
Mm-hmm.
All right, to the wall of sound. By the way, am I the only person who doesn't like the fact that coaches are wearing, sweats?
Oh, yeah, I know.
I mean, I don't know.
I realize that we love our hockey people here, and they're always very tapper.
Well, Rod
Yes.
hates that you don't like in
Not a
the
fan.
NHL. In the NHL now, I think only John Tortorella was not wearing a jacket and tie.
Mm-hmm.
All the coaches wear jackets and ties in the NHL. And Rod, during the bubble, like they were told, no, you don't have to.
Right.
Rod was like,
Yeah, I am.
God, no, I'm wearing one.
Right.
It bothered him. It
Yes.
bothers him that there are coaches that don't wear jackets and ties. In the NBA, most of these guys now are wearing sweats.
Mm-hmm.
I hate that.
I know. Yeah.
I used to love Pat Riley dressing in Armani suits, man.
I know. Now it's Bill Belichick era, where cut off sweatshirts. Woo!
It's terrible.
At least there aren't jorts out there. That would be it. That would be. There we go.
I'd like to see it, though.
That
I
will
would like
be
to
the day.
see it. Do you own a pair of jorts? Be honest.
No, I have shorts. I'm a lady.
Right.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I have
any-
jean shorts, but
Okay.
they would be just considered jean shorts.
Okay,
I
yeah.
would think so. I feel like jorts is maybe a dude thing. Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. I have none. I don't own a pair of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
I should probably stop right here before I get somebody mad at me. All right, Todd Golden is Florida's head basketball coach. His team just won a national championship.
A heck of an accomplishment. I'm super proud of everybody in my program, top to bottom. My staff, who's been together for 3 years, has worked incredibly hard to help get our players to this point. And our players, they've been the difference all the way along. Been incredibly consistent all year, have worked with a great work ethic, and obviously we have an incredibly talented group, one of the most talented groups individually in America, but I do think what separates us and what has separated us all season long is our team talent and the way our guys have played together and for each other all year. And because of that, we can call each other national champions for the rest of our lives.
I'm just glad that Todd Golden said that his players were the difference. Yeah. They scored all the points and pulled down all the rebounds. It's no question your players, I guess maybe you forgot everybody's name. I don't know. Our players were the difference. That's so funny. Sorry, I might be the only one that really sees the humor in it, but that's fair. All right, one of his players, Walter Clayton Jr., who normally is their leading scorer, he was not in the game last night, probably because I bet on him to score 20 or more points. Walter Clayton Jr. on the final defensive possession in which Houston turned it over for the fourth consecutive trip.
I seen a lot going on. Coach had said we felt like they was gonna try to get some for either Cryer or Roberts, and Sharp kind of creeped down to the baseline. I seen a back screen, so I'm yelling back screen at Doe, and then Sharp ended up slipping it. They tried to set like a little elevator screen, so just went out there. We work on it in practice, kind of closing out, jumping to the side so you don't foul the shooter. So he kind of pump fake, threw the ball down, ended up being a good play. Doe got on it. We won the game, man, and the feeling just surreal. So it's a crazy feeling, man. I honestly can't even explain it, but it feels good though.
I bet it did. That last possession was just abysmal. Houston's head coach Kelvin Sampson on what they were looking for in the play.
We have a set where it's a stagger gate, and we thought if we could get Emmanuel to shot fake and get downhill. I have to look back at the film, and I don't know if the ball slipped out of his hands or Clayton had his back. Yeah, they probably should have shot faked that. Both those guys, Richard and Martin, both really good defensively. Clayton made a great play on that, but that's why you got to shot fake and get in the paint. Two's fine.
Problem is, he forgot the fake part of the shot. He didn't intend to shoot it, but he left the ground with the ball, which is why the whole sequence was blown up. ESPN's Seth Greenberg on Florida's comeback.
This was a typical game Florida played in the NCAA tournament. It was not reflective of how they played in the SEC tournament, but in the NCAA tournament, they got got behind in the first half and had to find different ways to come back and win games. This time they got back in the game by getting stops the last 4 minutes, by going inside when they couldn't make a three, and a lot had to do with JoJo Togler, him getting in foul trouble, and they had the ability to get to the rim. An incredible competitive game. Not the most well-played game, but the most competitive game I've seen in a really long time.
Yeah, look, it was not aesthetically pleasing. Here's the thing. If you think back, Florida trailed in the second round to Connecticut. Connecticut could have won that game. And then in the Elite Eight, Texas Tech should have won that game. They had the game. They missed the front end of back-to-back 1-and-1s that allowed Florida the room to come back. And last night, Houston probably should have won the game. But so much for your 93.9% win probability, ESPN, because that's when the lead had ballooned to 12 in the second half. That was the number. 93.9%, something like that, something stupid, which I just don't think is true. But because you're not going to have the same set of circumstances 93 whatever enough times to really know. But man, they keep telling you about it. I want to hear about that in real time. I want them to go, my gosh, Florida's down 12 to Houston right now. You know, their win probability is 93.9%, Dennis. That's what I want to hear. I want to hear the color analysts say that. I have a mission. When I am elected president, I will ban win probability from entering into any lexicon.
And jorts. Yes.
But not for women because they're just shorts.
Yeah.
At that point.
I mean, I don't know. Unless other people have an opinion, maybe that should be a poll question.
I don't. It's a good poll question.
Maybe.
It's about the par for our poll question.
Yes.
That would be a good one. We should get back to doing those on a daily basis. All right, the Hurricanes will be in Buffalo tonight. Canes have lost 2 in a row. They do not want a losing streak. Rod was asked what he would like to see.
Yeah, obviously we want to win hockey games. It's got a couple guys that I think will be back in the lineup, so that's going to be good. Kind of try to get back to a little bit more normalcy of how we want to look and run the group and play the right way. I mean, I haven't disliked their games the last couple games, but we got to be better. Obviously, giving up a little too much, and you were looking for that consistency here, obviously, that we've kind of strived for all year.
Carolina's defense is kind of connected. You want to get the forecheck involved so you don't have to play defense. But defensively, in their own half of the rink, they were not good against Detroit. They were not good against Boston. And in Boston, the goaltending was flat bad. In Detroit, the goaltending just wasn't what it needed to be. And I think all of that is really that Pyotr Kochetkov just hasn't looked like a confident goaltender since the game against the LA Kings. He just has not. And I'm not saying that game ruined him, but maybe that game exposed him to an extent. All right, now, focus, which to me has been a problem for Kochetkov. I think his best games have been when you could tell that he is locked in. And I think you could tell that he was searching for it against the Red Wings when they played last week. Anyway, Rod was asked about staying focused.
Yeah, I mean, I love to say it's just go about your job, but we pushed real hard all year. It's like from the start of training camp to, every game, we try to stress how important it is in October, so that you can get to a point where maybe you have 8 games and you don't really have to win. And yet we want to win every game. But that's why you push so hard, because, you want to have that luxury where you have all of a sudden a bunch of injuries and it's not going to, affect that we're, where we end up playing. We know it could affect who we play and all that, but at least it gives you that cushion. on the downside is they know there's a cushion, and that's human nature. And all of a sudden you come off it. I mean, it's just this much, but 20 guys come off that much, suddenly it doesn't look quite the same. So there's there's the rub, I guess. And we got to just get back to focus on trying to win a hockey game.
Yeah, and the good part is not only will you get Andrei Svechnikov and Jordan Staal back in the lineup tonight, but Sebastian Aho said it after the game on Saturday. Like, it's a great learning tool. I'm trying to remember now exactly how he said it, but he essentially said, yeah, this is a great reminder of when we don't play our game, it can look like that. So Carolina has been, in their own half of the rink, a defensive mess for the last 2 games. And when you don't necessarily have a ton to play for, and granted, had they won these 2 games against Detroit and Boston, both on the road, had they won those 2 games, they would have already clinched whatever it is they're going to clinch, which is home ice advantage, at least in the first round. But once you clinch the playoffs, it's almost natural to just kind of just take a little bit of a breather because they have to play so hard to win. They're not high flying, goals flying in from everywhere like some of the other teams are. They're just not. They don't have a top line of Kucherov, Point, and Gensel. They just don't. And by the way, even had Jake Gensel stayed here, Carolina's top line doesn't compare to that top line. Kucherov is 100% going into the Hall of Fame. Braden Point might be. I mean, Carolina doesn't have that. They don't have those guys. They have a lot of good players. It would be great to have an absolute bona fide bucket getter. But they don't have that. They don't. Aho is not that guy. Svechnikov is not that guy. Jarvis is not that guy. Now, Rantanen was supposed to be that guy. By the way, he had a goal and an assist. Was it yesterday or the day before? I think 2 days ago. Goal and an assist in a Dallas loss, I think. Was it, to Pittsburgh? I think, Pittsburgh came from behind and beat him. Anyway, the Hurricanes will be fine. But they have to play a certain way to get the most out of themselves every game. And hopefully they'll get back to playing that way tonight. If they do, they're going to beat the Blues, the Sabres, by a lot. All right, when we come back, Sean Hill will join us. Former Hurricane, who I will ask, how hard is it to get back up after clinching a division? We'll talk about that next.
Talking sports, dropping truth. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Tonight's forecast calls for Hurricanes hockey.
Svechnikov, tick-tack tied, and Carolina on the man advantage.
Storm Watch with Adam Gold at 6:30. Puck drop at 7.
Save it, rebound. Game over! Sebastian Aho gives Carolina a 4-3 win in overtime.
On your exclusive home for the Carolina Hurricanes, 99.9 The Fan.
Remember the old commercial where the 3 Braves pitchers are walking and they say, "Chicks dig the long ball"? Well, it is Dinger Tuesday and FanDuel digs the long ball. I am Adam Gold for the #1 sports book. FanDuel is here for you, and on Dinger Tuesdays, we get a home run profit boost. So when your guy hits a blast, you get even more winnings. I like Francisco Lindor to get off the schneid. His first home run of the season is tonight against the Marlins. FanDuel.com/Adam Gold. FanDuel.com Facebook.com/Adam Gold for Dinger Tuesdays. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. Opt-in required. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and maximum wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
Doesn't the North Carolina Education Lottery Winners Club give the best massages?
I've never felt so relaxed.
Thanks to this month's scratch-offs, this is our life now.
It's like winning again and again and again.
This month's scratch-offs pack over $150 million in total prizes. The Winners Club awaits. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning range from 103.8 to 9.88. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
Cool cars, cool people, good times. America's favorite car show is back. The Good Guys 10th Griots Garage North Carolina Nationals presented by Detrimentl. April 18th and 19th at the North Carolina State Fairgrounds in Raleigh. Cruise on out and see over 1,500 of the Southeast's finest hot rods, muscle cars, and trick trucks. Autocross racing, a Saturday night demolition derby, vendor midway, live entertainment, and more. April 18th and 19th at the North Carolina State Fairgrounds. Details at good-guys.com.
It's bow time. Yep, it's eating time again. Now you could unload groceries, chop, dice, mince, preheat, heat, slap around the smoke detector, and then celebrate with a big old pile of dishes. But if you're tired of cooking, or tired of sorta cooking, it's time to feed the whole family with Bojangles Fried Chicken Family Meal. With Bojangles' famous chicken, fixins, biscuits, and tea, you can forget the cookbook and spend some well-earned quality time with a delicious dinner from Bojangles. It's bow time.
There's no time like bow time. Time to stop whatever you're doing for some of that bodacious Bojangles flavor. Satisfy your craving for flavor and your passion for boneless chicken with Bojangles 4-piece Supremes dinner. 4 perfectly seasoned Cajun fried whole breast tenderloin fillets. Choice of fixin', a made-from-scratch buttermilk biscuit, and Bojangles legendary iced tea. When you're hungry for flavor and value, it's bow time.
Thanks for calling Discover. This is Nia.
Hi, Nia. It's Jennifer. Did you know that Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Yeah, I work here.
Okay. I was just double checking. Get it?
Because Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Oh, you get me, Nia.
You could say that I double get you.
I guess we've taken it too far.
You earn, we match. Discover Cashback Match. See terms at discover.com/creditcard.
One Adam. Gold. One Adam. Gold.
If Andrei Svechnikov watched Eric Cole highlight tapes and caused chaos.
Hey, hashtag, you didn't even mean to do that, did you?
I didn't. Well, that's the old one.
I know, but
right?
It's still relevant.
Now we're raising up. Maybe we should go back to cause chaos.
I know, we need to go back to causing chaos.
This is interesting. I did kind of subconsciously bring that out.
The Adam Gold Show.
Former Hurricanes defenseman, a legend, Sean Hill, joins us on the Adam Gold Show. Before we even get into hockey, let me just say that I told you I was going to be wrong. I had half of it right last night. I had Houston. I did have the under. It was under. But, yeah, I had the wrong team winning. But that's kind of like par for the course, Sean. So I apologize for that. How hard is it?
Finish, huh?
What?
What a finish by Florida. That was crazy.
Yeah, it was. Houston did the same thing with Florida that sort of Duke did with them. They just kind of melted away down the stretch, and maybe we should give the credit to the Gators. Good for them. Let me ask you this, though. For the Hurricanes lost in Detroit, lost in Boston after clinching a playoff spot. How hard is it to keep your edge in a sport where you have to play on the edge to be effective?
I think that's definitely something you look at with how it coincides with them getting their playoff berth again. And, I think it's such a long season and you got the pedal down so often that, I don't think it's that big of a deal that they drop a couple like that. I think it's good. Maybe they refocus a little bit here and get ultra concentration going down the stretch now and really start pushing it to that next level. And let's get on with it,
Yeah. By the way, Buffalo's not going to be easy tonight. The Sabres have been, as another former number 22 who played for the Hurricanes, said the Sabres have been on one over the last several weeks. They have won 7 of 8. For somebody who played here, got bitten by the Hurricanes fever, and now has moved back here. Can you put into words 7 years in a row of the playoffs? I mean, this team never went more than 2 years in a row before the last 7. Can you put that into some sort of context for people?
Yeah, I heard that stat the other night, and it's honestly, it's silly, really, when you think about it. Rod came in and established a standard and established a culture, and I mean, it's amazing when you think about it. God, I would have loved to have been a part of a team like that just you knew you were going every year, and you just get prepared and keep your body right and just wait for that day in April that comes when you get your first round matchup. But I think you just got to take your hat off to Roddy, and you got to take your hat off to the leaders and the core of that team. And it's an amazing streak. And I think probably if you talk to them about it, it's expected, which is great. That's the standard set. And now I know that they really want to focus and take that next step and get deep and get it done.
Yeah, they should be getting Jordan Staal and Andrei Svechnikov back tonight. I'll ask you about them in a second. But when you said keep your body right, that is something that Alexander Ovechkin really never needed to deal with in his entire career. As his friend Yevgeny Malkin said, look, he's not a workout guy. He just loves to play. We found out that he has Coca-Cola in his water bottle during games. Dmitry Orlov just laughed when I asked him that question last week. He goes, yeah, that's true. Ovechkin as a player, especially as somebody, when you guys play essentially opposite positions where you got to deal with somebody like him, although I don't know that you ever I guess maybe late in your career you probably had to deal with him a little bit. What is that when you know where he's going to be and you still can't stop it?
Yeah, I mean that's the ultimate deal where you just tip your hat to a guy. There's not many guys that you can know exactly where he's going to be, exactly what he's going to do, and they still pull it off, and that's a sign of greatness. And obviously, he's been doing it for so long, and it's kind of comical now. The puck will be on the other side of the ice, when they're on the power play and, in the corner or whatever. And he stands there like with his feet 6 inches apart and doesn't even have 2 hands on the stick. It's like, all right, this is boring. Can we get this thing over here? And, it's almost like he's making a mockery of it. And then next thing you know, it looked like it's going to come over, and he bends his knees and it's gone. And it's, the light goes on. And obviously a record that I never, ever thought would be touched. And, and now it's like, how long does a guy play? It's, he might add 100 more to it. He might, who knows? So,
right.
Just amazing.
It is, and he's certainly become, like over the last 4 or 5 years, maybe it's just the watching him celebrate with the Stanley Cup. He's become a bigger personality and a different type of player. So as a guy, we saw Scott Morrow play here, and he's played a handful of games. He played the 2 games in Detroit and in Boston, and who knows if he's going to stay in the lineup tonight if Rod decides to give another defenseman a rest. We know Alexander Nikishin at some point, maybe not this year, is going to come over. What is the biggest challenge for a young defenseman when he steps into an NHL lineup for the first time?
I would say the biggest thing is, he's a guy whose offense has gotten him to the league, but that's that's not what's going to be what's going to make him a solid player. That's not what's going to get him in the lineup every night. He's got to figure out that he's got to be able to defend. Unless you're putting up a crazy amount of points,
right?
Especially in Roddy's system, you have to be able to defend. And I haven't really dissected his play. I've seen some things he's done offensively, which really looks good, and obviously he's got a knack for that. That comes naturally. But if he's going to be in the lineup every night, especially down the stretch, which who knows, he's definitely going to have to get his defense up to being solid. And I think he's doing a decent job. He's a young kid, but I don't think you can stress the defense side enough. And a lot of people, look at it as, it might not be a skill, but it certainly is a skill. You look at Jacob Slavin, you watch him play defense, and he does things out there. It's not only his position. I mean, he's batting pucks out of the air. He's amazing. And, if I could say anything to him, I'd say just watch Jacob, watch what he does every day, watch how he comes to the rink and prepares, watch how these guys do it day in and day out. And then, the offense is going to be window dressing, and that'll come, but keep working on that defense. That's what's going to keep you in the lineup, and that's what's going to make the coach trust you.
So I've been saying about Andrei Svechnikov that I wish they would just show him highlight reels of Eric Cole, because if Andrei just played like Cole did, Andrei'd be he's already a fan favorite anyway because he is who he is. But I mean, he would be like on the very short list of all-time Hurricanes if he played the way Eric did. Andrei hopefully will be back in the lineup today. He's missed a couple of games. He was out for a week or so a few weeks ago, but he hasn't really gotten any traction this year. Do you have any? If you could give Andrei advice, what would it be?
I think he's such a great guy. I think he's a great teammate from everything I see about him and hear about him, and he loves to have fun. And if I could tell him anything, it'd be just play on the edge, but do your best to not go over the line. And it's kind of, I think it's frustrating with him because a lot of times the penalties he gets aren't ones that are the kind that we can live with. Sometimes he gets them when he's a little bit over aggressive but I think, like you said, Colsey did a good job for the majority of his career playing on the edge, frustrating opponents. And then, they take penalties on him, whatever. Then he's out on the power play and he scores goals for you. So I think, Andrei, he's a power forward. He just has to get back to playing hard every shift but playing smart, don't cross over that line. And if he does that, he's going to create so much offense, and he's got such an amazing shot. And, down low, he's a beast. He's got the speed. He can knock guys off pucks, take pucks to the net. I mean, he just has to get back to doing the things that make him who he is, and he'll be one of the top power forwards in the league. And, I think sometimes we have unreal expectations. And, I mean, he's so good that, you think you should expect 35 from every year, but there's not many guys in the league that get 35 every year, and I don't know where he's at now as far as goals, but I can tell you one thing, it's probably pretty darn good for 90% of the guys in the league would like to have his stats. And, we look at him and think, gosh, how can he not do more? And,
right.
And I think it's sometimes a little bit fair expectations, but, I think one thing is if he can be effective even when he's not on the score sheet, which shouldn't be hard for him, throw your body around, be disciplined, be a great leader on the ice, and he doesn't even have to score. But
right.
But if he does that stuff, he will score.
That's right.
And that's the version we need going into a playoff.
I talk to Rod about it all the time. There was a good long chunk of last season where Andrei wasn't getting on the score sheet but playing well, and the head coach kept saying, "No, he's fine. The goals will come." I think Rod has been searching for ways to help Andrei this year more than he ever has. A couple of more players before we let Sean Hill go, former Hurricanes defenseman, now superfan. Jackson Blake, rookie. Your thoughts on what you've seen from this 53?
I can't believe how much he has grown this year. He's always showed flashes and stuff, but now he's instead of showing a couple flashes a game, he's showing a couple flashes a shift. And the confidence he has and the shiftiness in the zone to lose guys and get space and make plays, he's probably one of my favorite players to watch. And, the skill just oozes out of him. I think he's going to be a Hurricane great for a long time, and he's just scratching the surface with his confidence and how much skill he actually has.
The Hurricanes have so many good players. Seth Jarvis has a chance to be maybe 2-3 years down the road their best. What do you like about him the most?
Everything. I love his personality. I love the way he identifies with the fans. I love the way he has so much fun with the game. And then you actually get into the game, and he's got one of the best releases in the league. Great at killing penalties. He'll eat pucks. I mean, if you want to, the only thing that I would say would make him better is if he was, Jordan Staal size. But I mean, other than that, he thinks he's Jordan Staal size, and he's got the skill and, the personality. He's going to be a Hurricanes. He already is a Hurricanes legend, and he's just gotten here, But just the way he deals with fans, and he has so much fun doing it that, what a player to have on your team. And like you said, I think sometimes he plays it down, but he's a big-time leader. He does it his own way, but he is a big-time leader, and, man, he is fun to have.
He is just an awesome player to watch. Sean Hill, I appreciate your time. Playoffs are right around the corner. In fact, 2 weeks from either Saturday, probably not Saturday, more than likely Sunday, we get cranked up. I will bother you a lot in April and May and into June.
I love it. Let's go for it all the way.
All right. Andre will play tonight. He'll play on a line with Jordan Staal and Jordan Martinook. We will not have William Carrier back in just yet. Back to the top six on the blue line as Scott Morrow comes out of the lineup. It will be Pyotr Kochetkov tonight in goal. Let me say one quick thing about Kochetkov, then we will break and we can come back and do a rewind. It's a big start for him, but I've been saying this now for 2 or 3 starts. It is a big start for him because the head coach and your teammates, they can say what they want. But you have to be able to trust that the goaltender is going to come up with a save when you need it. Kochetkov has allowed 19 goals in the last 4 games. Granted, Carolina hasn't really played super good in those games, but they haven't been that bad in them either. He's got to be better. And I thought of the 4 goals he allowed in Detroit, none of them were bad, but I would say most of them were savable. And had he been on a little bit better run of form, I think he saves 3 of them. Even if he only saves 2 of them, how different is it if it's 2-1 as opposed to 4-1? Granted, he didn't get a ton of help in front of him, but sometimes the goalie's got to bail out his teammates. And that's really what they need out of Kochetkov right now. They are going to need a great game from him tonight. Buffalo is playing well. Anyway, the game starts at 7 o'clock. If you're local, you want to check out the pregame show. Stormwatch starts at 6:30, as always, for 7 o'clock starts. Then we have the aftermath. Then we have the Canes Corner podcast, available wherever you get your podcasts. Also live on YouTube, youtube.com/Canes Corner. There you go. When we come back, a little bit about the national championship game and the Masters and the House versus the NCAA pause. We're going overtime in court. Isn't that great? Next.
Questioning goalie interference calls since day one. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hey, it's Adam Gold from my friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. And here's what we know at FanDuel. We know that baseball fans dig the long ball. And with Dinger Tuesdays, all FanDuel customers can get a home run profit boost. That means when you bet on moonshots, you can take your winnings to new heights. See what we did there? So whether it's a big blast or an Oppo Taco, gosh, I love that. FanDuel's your home for betting on home runs. FanDuel.com/AGS. FanDuel.com/AGS. Gear up to go yard all season long. Make every moment more with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. Opt-in required. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and maximum wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.com.
From the mountains to the coast, there is tremendous pride in North Carolina agriculture. NC Forever Farms is a program recognizing family farms that are protecting precious working lands vital to the future of agriculture. Through permanent agricultural conservation easements, these NC Forever Farms will always be protected from development. Learn more about preserving family farms through the Farmland Preservation Division of the North Carolina Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services by visiting ncadfp.org.
This April, join North Carolina Realtors in celebrating Fair Housing Month. Fair housing means everyone deserves a place to call home, regardless of race, color, national origin, religion, sex, or disability. NC Realtors are committed to fair housing for all North Carolinians and ensuring that everyone has access to safe and affordable housing. Let's work together to create communities where everyone can thrive. Visit ncrealtors.org to learn more about fair housing. Paid for by NC Realtors.
The North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services is looking for people age 21 or older to volunteer in long-term care facilities. Community Advisory Committee volunteers help residents and their families advocate for the needs of individuals living in long-term care facilities, such as nursing homes, assisted living facilities, and family care homes. Volunteers must complete orientation and training to become designated and certified representatives of the Long-Term Care Ombudsman Program. Visit ncdhhs.gov/aging to find your county's ombudsman.
Do you know someone who's lost a loved one to overdose? Every day, the disease of addiction is taking lives and devastating families. But this crisis is preventable. Join the Governor's Institute in the Be a Superhero in the Overdose Battle campaign. Together, we can spread awareness, fight stigma, and save lives. Learn the signs of overdose. Know how to help. Visit governorsinstitute.org/superhero today, because doing nothing shouldn't be an option. Be a hero. Take action. Save a life.
The Body Armor State Games are coming to Greensboro this June. Registration is open to athletes of all ages and skill levels in 20 different sports. The Body Armor State Games feature 11,000 athletes and 600 teams. Don't miss out on North Carolina's largest sports festival of the year. Visit bodyarmorstategames.org today. That's bodyarmorstategames.org. The Body Armor State Games are proud to partner with Truist, Lowe's Foods, and Blue Cross and Blue Shield of North Carolina.
Did you know that since you have public power, your electricity is operated and controlled by people in your community, not by a for-profit investor-owned company? These local folks are directly accountable to you. They don't answer to shareholders. They make decisions for the good of your community. What's more, your public power provider invests in your community, providing jobs and supporting your local economy. Local people working together to meet local needs. That's public power. Learn more at electricities.com.
This is Adam Gold.
And I did have to use two screens at one point, or a couple of points, and I don't like it. I can't watch two games at the same time.
There's a lot going on.
I'm sorry. I'm incapable of doing that. Because there were times where, I forgot this other game was on in front of me.
Yeah.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I'm Adam Gold. Victoria on the ones and twos. Canes in Buffalo tonight. Andrei Svechnikov back in. Jordan Stahl back in. Pyotr Kochetkov in net. Justin Robidas, who has a goal and an assist in 2 games in the NHL, has been sent back to the Chicago Wolves. Let's see what else. Scott Morrow comes out of the lineup. Carolina will go with the top 6 defensemen. And hopefully the Canes can break this little mini 2-game losing streak against the Buffalo team that has won 4 straight, 7 of their last 8. They have beaten in this span of time Winnipeg, Washington, Tampa, and Ottawa twice. Yeah, they're good. Right now, they're playing like a playoff team. So, strap in. If it doesn't go well for the Hurricanes, it's because Buffalo is playing really well. And right now, Carolina's in a little bit of a search mode to regain their edge. Funny thing is that we don't have to go back too far. In fact, a week ago tomorrow, where they beat the Capitals pretty soundly, and nobody was complaining about the way the Hurricanes were playing. Like, you're allowed to lose games, especially after clinching a playoff spot.
Yeah, and there's a lot of games. So
there are. We're running out of games, though. 6 more, including tonight. That's it. 6 more games, including tonight. I think St. Louis only has 3 more games left. Nutty. All right, it's time to rewind. All right, the House versus the NCAA hearing was yesterday. It was, well, theoretically, it was going to produce the rubber-stamped approval of the settlement that was negotiated between the lawyers and the NCAA. The lawyers and the NCAA's lawyers. And they had this agreement in place, and Judge Claudia Wilkin was supposed to approve it yesterday, but she was never going to approve it yesterday. They were still hearing from objectors, and during the hearing, the judge basically said, it's a good agreement, don't quote me on it, too late, but I think it could be better, and these are the changes I want you to make. These are the areas I want you to address. To which the NCAA released a statement yesterday basically saying, thank you, but nah, not really. Anyway, Tarun Sharma, who is does work with Conduct Detrimentl, the podcast. We have those guys on often when we're talking about the intersection of the courts and sports. But he is the founder of the University of Minnesota's Law School's Sports and NIL Clinic. So he is a great person to ask this question. What was your takeaway from yesterday's hearing?
What a marathon yesterday. 6.5 hours,
yeah.
and hearing a lot of comments from parties that are heavily invested in what's going to come next with college sports. I think that was probably my biggest takeaway, is that there are a lot of people that care deeply about this. This settlement probably isn't going to be perfect, but Judge Wilkin, she asked us not to quote her on this, but said that overall she thinks it's a good settlement and that it's worth kind of working towards reaching a final settlement here.
Yeah, but she did specifically tell the attorneys involved that she wants changes to 2 areas. And if I'm not mistaken, the NCAA, along with the Power 5, and I don't know if that lumps the Big East in or we're still pretending, I guess the Pac-12 is reforming in something. I don't think it's a power league. But they basically said, nope, we're good. I think what we have here is fine. Now, I think she'll probably approve it, but why do they want to run this risk?
Yeah, you consider how much time they've spent on coming to the settlement agreement, basically, that they have reached at this point. I just think that they've invested so much in getting people on board, and so you think about making these changes. Well, that's going to affect how another party feels about signing up for this. And really what they need is investment from everyone that's going to be affected by this to agree and to operate under this. And look, it's a 10-year agreement. I'm not even sure that we'll get to the end of that 10 years before we reach some sort of more finality. So I think that when you talk about, well, so is the back pay formula correct? Like, that was something that we heard about from Livy Dunn, who's been a real, like, she's been the face of NIL in a lot of ways. When we hear about roster limits, well, you know, that's something that a lot of people have been interested in pushing for some time. When we hear about being cut, well, that was kind of a surprise. We heard the NCAA's attorney say yesterday that, well, you know, coaches can cut as is right now, which is something that used to always be denied by the powers that be. So I think that in order to get these changes, you need to have people buy in, and maybe it is kind of late in the game to be doing these types of negotiations. But at the same time, if they get the sense that maybe she wouldn't sign off on it or would delay the sign off on it, and there's only a certain limit to, you know, when she can do that until, given the actions that all of these schools and athletic departments have taken to this point, maybe they do make last minute deals to just get it done.
Maybe they do. I challenge the NCAA in why they would want to test the judge. It will always baffle my mind. The ultimate solution to this, I understand the NCAA doesn't want to allow the world to know that these athletes are employees, but they are employees. They have an obligation. If you are a scholarship athlete, you can't just decide, well, you know what, I don't really want to play, unless you're willing to give your scholarship back. And I mean, the biggest misnomer, I'll say it this way, the stuff that really bothers me the most about this issue is when a fan will say, well, they're getting a free education. Clearly, they don't have to pay for it with money, like all of us do. But they are paying for it in other ways. They do receive value. They also earn the universities a lot of money. It's not free. These are full-time jobs, and they really deserve to be compensated for them, beyond the value of the scholarship. Scholarship's value fluctuates anyway. Anyway, I don't know where this is going to end. It will get approved eventually. I think the NCAA is going to have to change up. Victoria, thank you. Canes Sabres tonight. See ya.
Making more sports sense than social media trolls. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Are your monthly bills keeping you up at night, wondering how you got so behind? Hey, I'm Rob.